Well, hello everyone, it's Jeff from Mid-Atlantic Craps. Welcome back to the Casino Gaming YouTube TV channel for this Season 2, Episode 9 of Craps Chat. We're a few minutes late tonight because I was having, as usual, a little bit of audio problems, so we're not going to delay the show anymore. We've got people in the green room. If you want to join the show, I will be posting the link right now. If you go into the description below in the feed for YouTube, you'll find the YouTube link there. I will be posting it in the video chat here in just 1 second. Let me go ahead and bring on my co-host, Dylan. Dylan, you are the creator of the show. Welcome, my friend. How are you doing tonight?
Doing great. How are you tonight?
I'm telling you, you've listened to me for the past few minutes, kind of work my way through this magical side of bringing you onto YouTube Live, and it's just not as easy as some people think. And tonight, not only did I have chat problems, I also had some audio problems with a few of the guests that are coming on. We've got a full panel, and unfortunately, one of our guests is going to be on the Zoom side, not in the vMix side with us tonight, but we've got a full panel tonight. But can you believe that it is Episode 9 of Season 2 already?
Wow, it's a miracle. You know, all this whole production, the whole show is a miracle. You know, I'm so grateful that we can even come together like this. So I'm very grateful. I'm greatly appreciative of this whole shebang, of the whole works.
Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and bring everybody in. We'll get everybody on, make sure everybody's audio is working appropriately, and we'll just see what takes place here. Let's go ahead and bring them in and turn on the audio for everybody. It looks like everybody should be here. Let's start out with John over there in the. I guess that would be. Let's see. That's stage left. That's stage right. So that way, John. How are you doing, my friend?
Over there. Yeah. I'm doing great. How y'all doing? I'm actually tired, man. I was in Vegas for six straight days, and I probably put 50 miles on my old feet, and I am freaking beat right now. So yeah.
Well, you and Brian were both out at DiceCon. So, Brian, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good.
Good. Glad you
feel exhausted like John.
Well, you know, John and I were talking earlier this evening, a little bit after 8 o'clock Eastern, which I guess would be 5 o'clock his time, and he told me that his legs were really, really bothering him, and he's talking about being old. Wait till you get to my age, John. Wait till you get to my age.
The thing is, Jeremy sent me on a quest. The first day I got there, he's like, "Hey, I need you to find all the casinos that have the stadium, whatever, the electronic, but you throw the dice thing."
Yeah, stadium craps.
Cool. So I walked from Harrah's all the way to Tropicana and all the way back down to Resorts World. The first day I got there.
That's several miles.
That took me it's a several miles. It took me about 3.5, 4 hours to make that walk. And I'm telling you what, I'm like, that was pretty stupid on the first day you got here.
Why don't you like run
every
one of those
single day.
scooters? They might Ubers.
You know what? I actually was trying to collect as many Naked Lady cards as I could on the one on the Trek. I was going to try and make a full deck of those things, and that was my goal. So, yeah.
Wow.
How close did you get?
I got about 16 of them. Actually, yeah, I got about 16 of them.
They walk by you. They do this and hand you the card. As you walk by.
Yep.
And
yeah,
it's
a pretty sad. It's a pretty sad thing, but yeah, that was not a smart move. It speaks to my intelligence level, I guess, to start out my trip with a ass kicking like that.
Yeah, you talk about me. Look at me. I'm still making adjustments to everything we're doing here. Hopefully everything holds up. So let's head over here to the Zoom side. Ed was supposed to be on with us as a guest on the actual show side of it, not the Zoom link, and he had some audio problems somewhere, probably on my side, but everybody else is fine. So Ed, roll to win craps. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you. Glad to be here. My little thing says I have a network bandwidth is low, so it's on my end.
It's probably because, like you said, you had a house party going on there, and everybody's on the internet.
Yeah, I got about a gazillion people in the house. They're all using the internet, playing, killer games and all that stuff. So they don't respect their elders around here.
Well, Zoom does change things up a little bit. It changes the way it feeds the audio. It changes and reduces the resolution of the video. vMix is using 1080p and true 32-bit audio, which doesn't mean anything to anybody. But welcome. I'm glad you made it here. You can hear us. Alfredo was in next. He was actually in the green room first. He was able to give me a test count on the Zoom side of it. Alfredo, how you doing tonight, my friend?
Doing well. Glad to be here.
Repeat
And I'm
what
glad
you
that
told.
Churro has at least half a shirt on today.
Yeah, we're going to get the churro, but repeat what you told Brian while we were in the green room about the show today. How many rolls you had without? I'll let you tell the story. Go ahead and tell it.
So we had 21 rollers between myself, Rory, and Jim, and not one come out 7, including all of the points that were hit. Pretty crazy, given the fact that I throw a lot of those normally. So yeah,
That was rigged.
I was pretty amazed and didn't jinx myself at the end when I
It was
had
live.
announced
It was
that at roll
live.
18. It was live.
You
It
did-
was live.
I don't care if it was live; it was still rigged.
That's what I always get on my channel. I always get
Alfredo
it's
brings
rigged.
them LFC on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I always get the rigged, and it's not live. John, you know how we feel, right? Oh my God.
100%.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's go to Craig. Craig was next in the room. Craig from Old Bay Craps, the champion of Friday night fights, two-time ring.
Two-time.
Well, actually, two-time, but 2 weeks in a row. Guys, if you didn't see that show, and I don't know, John, if you got to see the whole thing or you just caught the end of it, but
Not yet.
without a doubt, probably one of the top 5, not because I dealt, not because I ran the show, but they went the full 36 rolls before the game was decided. The game was decided on the 36th roll. Craig, tell them what I rolled on the 36th roll.
John knows. Go ahead and say it, John.
It was a horn number, wasn't it? Was it an ace deuce?
Yes.
It was aces.
Oh my God, you're kidding. You're
It was
kidding me.
aces.
That's the third time that's happened to you.
However,
yes.
I don't believe if aces hadn't rolled, would I have lost? So
Right.
Man.
No, you're probably right, because he went into the lead in the round 6 with a couple $100 lead, but the 2 rounds, they each obviously had to win one round to get to where they were going. But when they came down to it, Corey played so good and so tight, he had the lead going into round 2, and then when he got done with round, I think I have that right, Craig. When they got done with round 2, Craig had a massed amount of chips, and he brought them in and put them together, and boom, it was amazing. Because Corey actually, I think on like roll 6, was it? Craig, that he went ahead and just put it all in the field. It wasn't a field roll. Hand was over with. Let's move on to round 3.
I think the turn in the tournament was when I went into the DC again. He didn't. I was expecting him to do that, and he didn't.
Right.
And when the 7 hit, I collected, and he lost at like 400 or something like that.
And
Yeah,
he
he
turned
did.
all his bets off a couple of times too, right?
Yeah.
Missing some hits. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Well, we'll get back to that hopefully here in a little bit. Let's go over and talk to Midmo Yo. Churro's in the house. Hey, Churro.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Great to be here.
What's with the half shirt? Did I miss something along with what you guys were talking about? Did I miss something?
So, if somebody in the chat hasn't seen, the wonderful community has turned me into a meme because of a situation on Alfredo's live, and I took my shirt off, and somebody screen saved it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they turned me into memes, which has been absolutely hilarious, by the way. I take no offense to it. I think everyone has been super creative about it. Even my wife has been cracking up over them. So it's been a lot of fun. But yeah, so it was like 95 degrees here in Missouri today. Stupid hot, and we were in the pool, so that's why I got the half shirt.
All
You're
right.
saying your wife has seen you without your shirt.
What? I didn't hear you, Ed.
Your wife has seen you without a shirt before, you're saying.
Yeah, I will admit that.
Okay, just checking.
Well, they have
Just checking.
children. Or he has a daughter, so I know she. Well, you never know
I
these
don't
days.
mean you got to wear your flipping shirt to have kids.
All right, guys. We got a question here from We got a question here from Joe, Crapsmaster Journey. Joe, if you're not working, you want to join us, we'd be glad to have you on the Zoom side. Actually, anybody, I just put it in the chat, the link to the Zoom side. I have to know who you are, so if I don't know who you are, shoot me an email at jeff@midatlanticcraps.com. Tell me who you are, we'll let you in so we can get on here because we don't need any of that weird stuff in Zoom tonight. But we got a question from Crapsmaster Journey. Said, Brian, did you finally win the jacket?
Yes, I did. On my third day, I think. First day, I got straight off the plane, got a hat, and first rolled a 26 on my first roll.
Nice.
Second day, rolled a 32, and then on the third day, a 43, which got the jacket. But yeah, it was
Nice.
shooting pretty good on this trip.
Yeah. Well, no, that was
Brian, you are
actually really nice.
qualified.
Yes, you are definitely qualified. So
Ed, that's more than 5 rolls.
Way more.
don't get him started.
That is not one of those deals where you want to like do the 5 count.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely
Let's not
not.
go there.
So
No.
let's not go there. So look, let's talk about what's been going
Come
on
on,
in
let's
the craps world. I've traveled 4 times in the past 5 weeks, 3 times to play craps. I've been to Atlantic City a couple times, down to Biloxi. Alfredo's traveled. Churro, I don't know that you have, but I've played with Craig in Atlantic City. John, you and Brian went to DiceCon. Dylan, he wants to know all the details about everything that's gone on. I mean, how was DiceCon?
It was insane. I'm not sure how Brian felt about it, but it's cool. There was 120 people, I think, went to that thing, plus families. And the problem with it is that it's so many craps players. There's no way to play with everybody. It's impossible, And because we weren't all in the same area or the same hotel, we relied on text messaging and Discord and the app that I wrote to kind of like, where's everybody going to be at? And you ended up, I think, playing with your friends all the time instead of like being around random tables. It was just a lot of people there. The opening ceremony was awesome, but the actual gameplay I found it hard to spread myself around and see new people.
Well, I did actually watch Jeremy's opening of DiceCon, and then as a dual triple watcher, I went over to Brian. Brian was streaming live from the opening, so I was muting one, listening to the other, watching around. Brian was just having a good time going around. Jeremy was being all professional and talking about what he was doing. Looked like it was an excellent crowd. Plus, I saw there was a couple other videos that have come out that people that have been there. I know Leon was there. Let's see. Roy was there, and so I can't think. Somebody else I've seen during the week. Haven't watched a lot of YouTube, been busy, but man, it just seems like it's good for the community. It's a good turnout. I know Ed's turnout that we had down in Biloxi was good. We had 20, 30 people there. I know there's some plans to coming up. There's a couple of meetups coming up in the Chicago area. A couple coming back to Atlantic City area. I know, John, you've got one coming up in September. So
right.
People can get out and just not meet the YouTubers, which are all here at the moment. We're all YouTubers. We'd like other people that's not YouTube to come join the show. Links in the chat, and come on over and meet us, because it just seems like every time I meet somebody, even somebody that I've disagreed with in chat or in a show like this, you meet them in person, and they're just so humble and nice. And probably when they turn around, they give me the finger and keep walking. But other than that, they're always just so nice. No,
John's doing it again.
What's that?
John's doing that again.
No, it's somebody I met that walked down the boardwalk and came in and talked to me in Atlantic City, and we've had words. I call it debate. I don't think we've had words. I call it that we're debating the game of craps, and that's what we're here for. So anybody out there that has a question tonight, hit a capital Q for the question. If you have something for the panelists, you make sure you put their name in it so I can see it. My chat that normally works where I can queue it is not working tonight, so John's helping me with the chat. I was kind of hoping Chris Dice DJ was going to flow in here and get it at 2 as well. However, unfortunately, I haven't seen him today, and I haven't talked to him since Saturday. let's see. I got sidetracked with what I was going to say there. I also heard over the weekend, Ed, you've heard the rumors too. One of our good friends had a monster roll in Atlantic City. Do you know anything about it, Ed?
That was over 50 rolls.
Nice.
Who's that?
Are we allowed to say it?
That was 220 inside, otherwise known as his real name is Mark Evangelisto.
Yep.
At a 50 plus roll at the Tropicana at AC this weekend.
Damn.
Nice.
I would have kicked my grandmother to get on that table.
Hey,
So
there was
you
a
can
funny
say-
story about what Brian, when he was filming the opening there, he went to one of the guys, says he watches all the strategies or whatever, and he asked them about the sisters strategy that he has, and the guy said, well, I watch a lot, but I really, I'm working on Wayland stuff. He's like, go to the next guy.
Wow.
There
But
is so
no,
many strategies out there and so many channels. It's hard for everyone to follow everybody. But
No,
he still watches your stuff.
yep,
He just
it is.
didn't have the new one.
Well, I've had an opportunity
all
to play.
those guys in AC right now are making some money. I can tell you that they're still playing through the weekend.
Yep, they are. Yep, they are. I got a couple of people. It's in the AC Talk text group that told me that they were on the table when that took place. A couple of them were down a little bit, and they're definitely up. And of course, when you're up, it's always a good time that you can hoot and holler and
You
show
ain't
the
up
charm.
after a
The
50
porn chip.
roller, you watching the wrong YouTube shit.
You're right about that. Oh my gosh! All right, let me as Arnell's coming into here, we'll get back to him.
I'm drinking. I've been on air for 2 hours already.
Let me put this up here. Justice Jen says, "Ha ha ha! I thought you were going to tell them the crapless story." JC, it's a good one. John, what's that story?
This is classic. So Jen calls me and says, we're at the Sahara. Come on down to the Sahara to play, right? So I'm at Harrah's, and I get on the little train. I drive down to Sahara, and I'm looking, and I find her at the bubble crash machine. And so we walk the tables, and one's 15 and one's 10. So we go up to the $10 table, both of us. And I'm up on the rail, stick left one. She's on stick right one. And I'm fishing out my money, and she's got her money ready to go, but the puck's on. Right, so the dealer's like, "Give me your money," and she looks at me. I'm like, "Whatever, So she puts her money out there, whatever she bought it for $1,000 or something like that. And as she's buying in, the guy's getting her chips. She's about to place her first bet. And I look down and I see 2, 3. I'm like, wait a minute. This is a crapless table. I ain't fucking playing. Done. Right? Pull my money back. Give me back my card. And she says, "What am I supposed to do?" I said, "Get your money off that table." So she gave all her chips back. So the puck is on, the guy's shooting. She's like, "Nope." She shoved all of her chips back. The guy, stopped the table for like 5 minutes. I was that guy. Like, we are not. It was 2,000 bucks. We are not playing here. That's it. And so they uncolored her up, gave her back her cash and her card, and we like slunk away and walked around the block to the other table. And then we tore that table to shreds. By the way. It was a good night, but yeah, that was absolutely classic. Yeah,
I have somebody on the Zoom side that's must be making some noises. That's making a clicking noise that was kind of coming through, and I thought it was Churro, but it's not. I hear like a tapping noise.
Sounds like it's a dog.
Sounds like a ceiling fan or a dog wagging his tail against something.
Yeah, it's not on the VMix side. It's actually in the. There it goes. It was Joe Crapsmaster Journey.
Big Joe.
I had the fan on.
Hey, it's
funny.
warm here. It's 70 degrees in Wisconsin, so we have the fans and everything on now.
Got to make the cheese. John, did you finish that story? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That was it. No, that was it. I said, "I'm not playing here," and Jen's like, "Yeah, color me." So it was like a 6-minute ordeal with the puck on, money on the table, chips back to the rack, chips back on the table, and totally, yeah. And then that piss boss was kind of, he made that face, Jen. We walked to the other table, and it was the same freaking guy. He just like rolled his chair to the other side, and there we were, like, "Hi." It's us again.
Don't
Yeah,
be that guy, John. I watched your
Absolutely
short.
was not. I know. Well, the thing is, they made her buy in. She had her
You
money, and
couldn't
they're
suck it
they're
up
like
for
begging
one
for the
roll?
money. No.
Yeah.
Not me. I
No.
never bought in. I had my money out, and I was like, "Whoops, psych! I'm taking it back." But yeah,
Yeah.
no.
You guys gotta
Why
watch
didn't
the
you
videos
guys just
of
put
Harris.
the chips to the other table?
Ace deuce all the time. I mean, come on, man. You could have made some money there.
My God, no, it was fun. If they wouldn't have made her buy in, it wouldn't have been a big deal. But she had bought in and had to unbuy in.
Brian would have stayed
It
and
was-
he would have played.
Oh my God, yeah. I'm not. You know me. I'm not going to give 1 cent to those tables. So I got out of there. It was funny. It was classic John and Jen, and then of course the same pit boss comes over and it's you two.
Good. Well, look,
Yeah, that's
we just had we had Craps Master Journey come in, and we got Arnell from Dice Grinders. Let's say hello to them before we get to some questions. We do have a couple questions that we have to tackle tonight, and I know that Brian came on the show, and I know he's got a few things that he would like to talk about. Joe, in Wisconsin,
Brian,
it's 70 degrees. They still make the cheese. Are you still rolling out the? How's your morning show going? I haven't caught it, but one time last week I came on and you 7'd out. I decided to leave.
It's going well. Getting every Monday through Friday. I pick it up occasionally Saturdays. Yesterday I had a nice 35 roller. Day
Nice,
before that I had
nice.
three rolls that were almost in the 20s or above. So it's going well. But it's not about the roll length. It's about learning mechanics. It's about learning the betting. It's just practice. It's practicing every single day on a consistent basis. So.
Yeah. Well, maybe
check
it was
it out.
this week. It was this week for good rolls because on my show, 3 out of the 4 days, I had super monster rolls. Alfredo had some rolls on his show, and let's go down to Arnell, Live Fantasy Craps. I missed it Wednesday night. How did that thing go? And was there some monster rolls on that show?
Oh yeah, there was some good rolls. I mean, everybody made out except for myself. I burned myself. Other
Work
than
in the
that, I
damn
would've been
come out roll.
Yeah, I would have been in the profit, but it's all good. It's better to do it in practice than the casino. So.
Yeah, it is all good. And Arnell, you and I actually got an opportunity to meet in AC a few weeks back when you and your wife came out. It was a pleasure to meet you and spend some time. You actually dug me out of a hole. You hit the 5-point fire bet at the Trop, and at the Harrah's, and you dug me out of a hole.
Harrah's,
It was
yep.
pretty deep. Yeah. So
I was surprised to hear from Clay. He mentioned that he hasn't seen anybody hit that 5-point fire in a long time, and even the crew was telling me over there, they were like, "Yeah, no one's hit that for a while." I was like, "Well, I hit that all the time, man."
Yeah, but you made it look easy. It didn't really take you a long roll. Yeah, it didn't take you a long roll. I mean, you had a big roll, but you hit that 5-point early on, and I forgot exactly how much was up on the 5-point for the dealers, but they made out well as well.
Oh yeah, I always put the dealers on. I think one of you guys put the dealers on.
Yeah, I did.
So yeah,
I had
they
them up
made
for a
out
buck.
too.
Yeah. So let's
they
go
made
over to
500. Yep.
Let's go over to Brian, who's 3:36 his time, Hawaiian time. We're all jealous, Brian, by the way, because it's pitch dark over here on the East Coast. Brian, what is going on with the Hawaii Crap Shooters, your crew, and HCS? I know you just got back, so tell us a little bit.
Yeah, nothing much. Everybody's all scattered. Everybody's work schedule is all different. Chef Dice has a lot of weddings during the summer. Everybody has different birthdays, so we're not probably gonna get together till probably the Sharpshooter in November, where the entire crew will be there. But it was great at DiceCon. I got to roll with a lot more of our Patreon, so I got to meet a lot of different people there too. And John, I got to roll with John too. So me and SJ
twice.
and John had twice. We had the table at Fremont together. So yeah, it's a good thing here in Hawaii. 70 degrees, better than Joe's place. We're 70 degrees year round.
That's right.
Well, you don't have to necessarily rub it in, but rub it in. Rub it
Yeah,
in.
Jen experienced. Jen was actually here at Palisades Casino too, so she knows the weather. But I wanted to go back at the Sahara dealers. You guys gotta be careful. If you guys haven't seen the live, they break out dealers there. And I was talking to David and Alex at DiceCon, and they said they do their own in-house training. They don't want to, and CEG is not working with them, so they really put them out to earth. It's really brutal trying to roll and concentrate, and when it's 3 minutes in between rolls, like a 10-minute roll could take almost 45 minutes. So it is pretty tough.
We were
at
lucky to
Sahara,
get 30
so-
rolls, 30 rolls an hour if you're lucky down there. But every bet, Brian, we had to tell them how to pay every bet. They couldn't set up 66 inside.
Wow. Wow.
Without help. It was
That's
was
discouraging.
and it wasn't even close. Like they were putting money everywhere. They had no idea what to do. It was
It was bad.
Casino Quest
We would
told us about
normally
that.
leave.
Yeah.
We would normally leave the table, but we were filming, so we had to just suffer in that on that table. But you know, how many of you guys would leave, right? You
Hey,
look
I'll
at John.
tell
dude.
you-
John just leaves.
Consistently bad dealers is worse than a choppy table. Get the hell off that table. Yeah,
I would agree with that.
it creates
I would.
arguments. It stops the game. It's just not. You're not worth. It's not worth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian, was the box person helpful in with trying to help the dealers, or how did the box person's position help or hurt or not influence at all? I'm just curious.
Well, the box person was actually as if she was doing a training with them there. You know, you got to put these chips here. Press from 18 to 42. You know, don't put the chips here. Count it out here. Put it in your station, and it's like on the job training kind of. And
Yeah.
you know, and with you guys know HCS, we have a lot of bets, so that's the wrong mixture of having them there and having that dealer. It was just terrible. And then we get the next dealer, and we say, okay, we will excuse that new dealer, and he's just as bad too. And they just don't know what they're doing. They mispaid us several times. They overpaid us several times. You know, the casinos, I know they're short on dealers, but that could cost them money. That's a bad business decision to get them out on the floor prematurely.
So, Brian, you recorded there. I mean, what is your plan to go back?
Yeah, probably not. If the dealers are like that, I'm not going back. It's brutal for the even our viewers. Our viewers is like, this is the most exhausting video you ever put out, and everybody. But you know, I keep it real time, so if I'm gonna suffer, they're gonna suffer too.
The thing is, we don't expect that. So we were there on a Saturday night. So I expected Saturday night to be their best crew. It was the worst crew I've ever been associated with. I've never seen dealing that bad on a busy Saturday night. I'm like, how do we have a full table here and we can't get a bet paid? Like
John,
$14
all the good dealers
payment.
were
Drop
on the crapless table that you walked away from.
Yeah, right. Whatever. but the real problem with, as somebody said in chat, leave, right? Or I think Alfredo said get out of there. The problem is the Sahara is the one casino like the Strat. You got to take a plane to get there, right? So it's like you took all that time to get there and all that effort to get there. Like shit, these dealers suck. Now you're all the way back up to the Strip again, or back down to Fremont. It's so far out of the way you can't just bug out. I mean, you can, but then it's an hour out of your life to get somewhere else, and it's a real pain. And it's unfortunate that I'm still shocked that it was that bad on a Saturday.
You know, John dealt faster than those guys at Casino Quest, and he was dealing to 9 on one side.
I had 9 people on that side. You guys were giving me the business. I sucked really bad at that. But freaking 9 people, that was hard. I drank so much after that session. I went to my room and just cried and just like literally just pounded whiskey because I was like, I'm never going to be a dealer again. This is it. Yeah, it was terrible.
I'm in for that.
It was terrible. Oh my
Well-
god.
Well,
I'll tell you what,
well-
mad respect for the dealers. Now that I've done it for 9 people on one side, holy crap. Like we do it for ourselves here. Damn.
So no more retirement plans, John?
You get over 3 or 4 players
No,
that
I
you're
gotta
dealing
practice.
for, it becomes nuts. Yeah.
I got to practice what it is. I have to practice more. I just got to get after it and do it and like really work
Gotta
it
go to
because
school.
you just don't realize how distracting it is to say, I got 9 bets. I know where you are. And here comes a bunch of money flying in and people yelling at you. And you're like, okay, whose money was that? Where does that go? And, I get it. I know that this is going to be $28. You give me $2. You want $30 back. And I don't know who gave me the $2. Like, that's where it's hard. And it was an eye opener. And you guys gave me zero help. They made it. I think they were trying to make it hard for me. They were trying to confuse me even worse because it was me.
I would have.
Like, that guy's actually an idiot. He's a real live idiot in person. This is great. Let's make it even harder for him. It was fun. We had a good time, but holy moly. Yeah,
All right.
They were like, John, you're the math guy. Here, handle this. Handle that.
Let's got a couple questions
Hand
queued up here,
them
guys.
5 black and ask for all red.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like
got a
here's
quick
like
question
people
for
were
Brian.
doing like 156 inside, and they would drop me $11 on a 4 again, and like press it. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, where am I putting that $11? I have no idea what's happening here. And it was really. Anyway, enough about
the
that.
Palestinian dealers, they had to do 9 side, split the sisters. Everybody and anybody was playing split the sisters. So you had to split all the sisters on every shot. And it took forever because everybody's playing the same strategy. So was crazy.
But that's not
Yeah.
as hard of a deal to do, to split the sisters, because it becomes repetitive. Versus if you're going down and up every single roll, that's where it becomes a little crazy.
Right.
Anytime
Well,
they're moving
they were
chips around,
splitting
it's
it.
hard. That's what I found.
Yeah, they got to do it 9 times, so that takes a while. And everybody's trying to say split mine, and he says you got to wait your turn. I'm gonna have to go all the way around again and do it again, and then he'll reset it. Then they hit another box number, and he got to do it again. So it was just disaster. Everyone playing the same strategy on the same side.
Yep. Stick to base or
Hey,
base to stick.
how is the traffic in Vegas since Formula One's coming up?
There's one road. The road that Ellis Island's on is a disaster.
Yeah, Kovo.
What is that? Is that? Yeah, that road is
Flamingo?
completely.
Yeah.
It's one lane.
was
The
gonna say
strip wasn't
Tropicana,
bad.
isn't it?
That's under construction.
Yeah,
right?
Tropicana, Koval. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That one's bad. But the strip wasn't terrible. I didn't find it to be bad. I got to Fremont and back for $13. No problems.
Cool.
Right.
Brian, I have a follow-up question for you. For
Go ahead, Craig.
Fremont, for your Fremont hats, I just have a curious question. They all seem like different colors. Is that due to the different years that you won them?
Yeah, some of are faded, and the newer ones I just throw them in a pile now. Like I think I've collected 26 of them, and I don't have room to put it on my wall anymore, so I just try to count it. But yeah, these are all faded. They're black, they're blue. You can choose which one whenever you roll a 25 or plus roll. My wife has some. She just throws it all in that same hat pile. So it was good to get the jacket instead. And everybody in the crew, everybody has jackets, and Money Shot finally gets his jacket. So it was a special, and it was tough. Everybody saw my chip rail, and it says, on a 43 roller, I would have been up 5,000 to 6,000. All the comments. But when you're rolling and you're gonna hit that 40, I stopped betting at 30 in the 30s, and I just same bet because I wanted to concentrate. But your heart is racing, and when we get on the table, it's not an empty table. It gets full quick. So we have a lot of people on the table and in the back watching, and it's just nerve-wracking. So I just had to stay calm, but it was hard for me to press. But I got a lot of gas about, you would have made so much more on that, and it was all the 7 didn't come. I had a 1 come out 7 on the 33 roll. After that, so everything was all numbers. So it was a good roll. But yeah, definitely I could have made more. But when you're in that situation, it's totally different. When you're trying to
You need a
shoot for
craps
that
caddy.
43.
And it is what, double odds there, right, on the pass line, so you can't just stack it on your point.
Yeah, I don't play pass line anyways unless it's myself anyways, and usually I just press up on the box anyways. So the double odds really doesn't bother me. I wish they had an ATS, but I just love those. That table is a solid table. I think the best in downtown. Everything else is medium bounce,
No question.
pretty heavy bounce. John's chopper worked good on that table too. It just stuck too. So you always got to play on a table that you can make money, right? So that's my home court. I don't see why I should battle a bouncy table and risk money trying to figure out my toss when I already know this table. So even Bellagio is an excellent table too. Chef Dice's home court.
So do you use a high arc when you land there, or are you looking at a lower arcing shot over at the Fremont? Because I've heard both, and it seems like most people that shoot well there say a higher arc.
No, that one I threw a low. I threw from the end when I threw the 43. So I used a kind of a higher arc into the come area. But when I was shooting from stick left 1, I would use the lower, almost kind of like a semi-Yuri kind of. I rolled it into the back, and that worked out really well. And I think I used the all 7 set on that one too. So yeah, rolling it in, it just kind of kicked it. The curve, the mixing bowl curve goes pretty towards the middle, so I use that to kick it over, kick the hard way, the all 7 set. So I was getting off axis all the time. So I just use that as an advantage.
Okay. Anybody else got anything for Brian in regards to his monster roll?
Is it cheaper, Brian, to just go buy the freaking jacket than it is to try to win one?
Jack,
Because that's what
it's
I
not even
decided when I
about-
went there one time.
It's not even about the jacket. I could care less about the jacket. It's the status. It's the trophy. It's a accomplishment. They can have the jacket. I just want to get the status. Next on the bucket list is if you roll 60, you get another type of jacket, but you get your plaque on the wall of fame, and you are embedded in history in downtown Las Vegas. So that's the next one that we're gonna try and chase. So
Nice. Nice.
When I
Well-
went there, I gave up and said it's cheaper to go buy the damn jacket. That's why I asked.
Real
Ed,
quick,
I'll
Ed.
give you a jacket.
I still didn't buy
I'll
one.
give you a jacket signed by HCS.
I'll tell you what, though, Brian. I actually,
he would,
go ahead, Jeff.
no, go ahead. I was just going to make a comment. He would take the jacket. Go ahead, John.
No, I was gonna say I love the Fremont table, but I liked Palace Station more. Like when you invited me over there to play with you guys, I'm like, all right, but I'd never been there before. That place was great. That was my favorite table. Like the way the dice stuck on that table. No, I didn't have a long roll there, but
Which one
the
did
dice
you guys
stuck
play
so
on
nice on
the
that table.
Palace Station?
We
It was
on the
right
longer
next to
table,
the
the
bubble.
14-foot.
Yeah.
The 14-foot table is the one we shot on. They just was putting in the roll to win, the new roll to win table there as well. So if you go to Palace Station, they were just assembling it. And was it you, John, told me for the license it's $1 million a year? Was
$1
it you?
million a year. Yeah, to license those tables. Yeah,
Casino
Wow.
pays $1 million to run a roll to
Just
win
to have
in their
that table.
casino.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
all that, like the ATS. So the ATS, that's the story behind the ATS, right? It's the reason why it pays 175 to 1 in some places and 150 to 1 in other places if it's licensed or not. Because if it's licensed, the casino is paying whoever made up that bet, they're paying them the 25 and the 5 on all the bets. That's their commission for licensing the bet. So you find a casino where it's 150 and 30, it's because they're not licensing it. So the casino is paying you the same money net that they were paying anyway. And that's kind of the deal behind it. I actually like tables without. I'm weird. I like without ATS. I like regular.
Yeah, you don't like
better.
ATS.
I hate
But
the
if
ATS.
you change the name,
for a lot of
bro, if you don't use
boom or
ATS
bust or whatever.
then
Yeah.
yeah, boom or bust. That's why they use boom or bust, so that they don't have to pay that licensing at Palace Station.
Exactly. Yep. And and there's not one place that's boomer that's not ATS, all tall small, that pays 176 to 1. Not one of them. They all when it's not licensed, it's always the lower fee, and that's because of licensing fees. I don't play it anyway, but like I said, I like it. That's why I like Fremont. You say there's no ATS.
Don don't play it because he can't shoot.
That's exactly right. 100%. No,
if you can't shoot, you can't win.
I have watched more money bleed away from people on that fucking ATS, and it's a suck, man. That thing just takes the money. I hate it. But I feel like if you can win $2,000-3,000 on a regular craps table, that to me is putting in work, and I'm proud of that. Like you want the accomplishment for the jacket.
You win
I want to
$2,000
make
to $3,000 on a regular
craps
table. You win 5 or 6 on an ATS table.
Exactly. So,
I hear you.
While I
still don't like it.
understand your notion, and if you're betting on everybody the same that you would bet on yourself, you're gonna lose on the ATS. The
100%.
ATS for a skilled shooter is definitely worth it because that's all bonus money that's on top of you. I still make way more money from banging away numbers and getting all the numbers into the black tip plus and just crushing it. But when you're winning one of the sides of your ATS right there alone, but when you hit an all and you have 10-10-10 up there or 25-25-25, that's a game changer.
Oh,
Yeah,
I hear you.
I think,
But like I said, I'm
disagree.
watching all those. I'm
Alfredo.
watching all the pass line winners go away. You watch all those come out winners just fade away. I'm watching, and again, I only pay pass line on myself, right? But I'm watching people pass line bets replace the ATS, replace the ATS, replace the ATS. You're just pissed away. $75, getting nothing out of it. On all those come out sevens, you got 0 to show for it, and then you lose it anyway. That to me is the biggest scam at the craps tables, unless you're a great shooter that can make it yourself.
That's why they call
How is that any different, John? How is that any different than hedging your bets or playing a hybrid style? It's the same thing. You use your pass line bet to cover your ATS,
That's what I was getting ready to say, Joe. Or you can have your come out action cover the ATS. Alfredo, I do that all the time.
That's what I do. Yeah, I do that.
Craps, yeah. I mean, you have the pass line paying the ATS, and you got a craps bet covering that. I mean, you're either going to lose $3 or $15, and or whatever the bet is. But we all know John doesn't like the ATS, but he also doesn't like crapless either.
I'm an old school. I'm just old school. Just give me a regular freaking table and a good shooter, and let's make some money. That's
I gotta say about the ATS. I see in my experience, random rollers hit the ATS way more than controlled shooters. It's because they don't hit repeaters. They're all scattered all over the place, so they have a bigger chance. That's why I even play the ATS on everyone, because they're not consistent, and they'll hit the 12s, the 3s. They'll go to the 9s. They're scatterbrains, and that's where you can make money. So that's just my experience. Controlled shooters, they got the bookends waiting. They're waiting for the bookends because they don't normally throw that. And I see that many times. They can hit the bookends, but the random rollers, they hit the 12s off the
bookends don't come out, and you got it whipped.
Yeah.
Say that again, Ed.
Throw the bookends on the come out, and you got that shit whipped.
Mm-hmm. Right. Everybody can't use that 2-1-2-6 that you or 2-1-2-4 that you use, Ed. That you're so consistent with them horns.
Yeah,
I tried. You got to learn how to do it. I ain't saying it's easy, but if you can't do it every time. But God Almighty, if you can throw a 2 and a 12, and then a 3 and 11, and you ain't set a point. You're sitting on gravy, baby.
How many 2s and 12s do I throw? Honest to God, guys, how many 2s and 12s do I throw live every day of the week? Like I'm all over that shit all the time, right?
I wouldn't bet the ATS on you. I'd bet the dark side on your ass.
Honestly, though, Ed, I almost hit it twice. I needed the frickin' 2, right? Or I needed the 3 once and the 2 once for the ATS 2 different times. Never frickin' threw them. I could not catch a whole number.
Do the math,
no matter what I did.
You got $25 on the tall, and you've already hit the tall. How much have I made?
You made a good bit of money on me. I know. I'm just.
Yeah, I made a good bit of money on your ass, and you still ain't hit the tall, hit the small. And I don't even give a shit because I got $875 in my rack.
I hear you.
You know why I don't bet on John on the ATS?
Right?
I don't bet John on the ATS because you need at least 5 rolls to at least hit the small.
Come on.
Just need one hit every 35 rolls.
That was low, Brian. Look, we got some questions to get to, but let me put this up here from Dustin One. He said nobody practices to throw craps number. I disagree. I know 5 people that practice to throw craps numbers. I know 5 people. 5 people I know just personally.
Freaking crapless table and try to throw inside numbers. Get the hell off the table. If you want to go to crapless table, go there to hit horns and make sure you're on a horn set. You're there to make money.
Yep.
I think I had to tell twice, Jen, on that one. Yeah.
All right.
When we were in Biloxi playing the crapless, I hit every outside number we had. Problem I had was I didn't hit none of them more than once. That was the whole freaking problem.
Yeah.
You had to hit repeaters on them.
Well, let me welcome Chris Steistige to the Zoom call and to the panel here. Another YouTuber, Chris, welcome.
Thank you. Been listening in. I do. I just got off the golf course.
Off the golf course? You should come off the craps table. You missed that big roll last night at the Tropicana. I know you're in the AC Talk group, so you know what took place. Oh, my gosh.
I do. I wasn't there. I was not there. Unfortunately.
Total money off the table, I was told when they colored up, was 40 plus. But anyway, we'll talk about something else. Guys, I've got several questions that are queued up. We got a great panel tonight. If you'd like to join, you don't have to be a YouTuber to join. The link is in the chat. I've put it up on the screen a couple times. We've got some great questions. I got another question coming in that was sent via Discord earlier today from Mike the 85 Bears that I'm going to get to. It's an excellent question. But this first question here, I just want to real quick have a couple of you tell me how you address this at the table. It comes from Randall Hill. He says, how do you track how many rolls you throw? I work with a group. If I'm not by myself, one of us is tracking in the rail. I've played with almost everybody here on the table with the exception of Churro, which I hope to play with sometime soon. You all know how I track the rolls. Let's go to Arnell. How do you track your rolls?
Well, I usually don't keep track, writing it down or using the chips, but by the end of it, if I actually wanted to keep track, I could basically estimate, because I know how to bet, or how I bet and what my press, strategy is. And that'll give me a gist of how many rolls. Also, what if the table has an ATS, I'm looking at that to see, how many numbers I've hit, because they're marking the numbers up, and you just keep track of how many times you hit the same number, and keep track of it that way. But yeah, I usually don't write down, so I never know what my rolls are unless somebody was keeping track or tells me or something like that.
Let's go to Churro. Churro, do you track your rolls at the table?
Not necessarily. I mean, have I in the past? Yes, but I'm usually concentrating on either a strategy that I'm playing or paying attention to my bankroll. That, to me, is probably one of the most important things that I do, if I'm doing it correctly, is keeping track of my bankroll, making sure that I know when to regress, when to press, that kind of fun stuff. So,
Alfredo, I know you track your rolls and you know where it stands. What do you do?
Yeah, sometimes I'm writing it down. Sometimes someone else is writing it down for me. If that's not available because I can't get a Baccarat sheet or something like that, or I don't have a pen and paper with me, I'm typically just doing it via chips on my rack. But I also do keep in track the very much same as Arnell. The betting progressions are very similar for what I typically do on my own roll as well.
Okay, Ed, do you track your rolls? And I'm pretty sure that you're going to be using the trend betting side of watching your bets, but I know you don't keep the outside track, especially like at the Hard Rock that doesn't have an ATS table. What do you do besides playing with me and me keeping track of them?
Well, I practice like I play, and I play like I practice. I watch my betting progressions, and so when I have a certain progression, kind of like Arnell said. If I know where I'm at, I don't give a flip how many times I tossed. I don't care if it's 4 times, 40 times, or 60 times. I know where I'm at on my progressions, and that's all I worry about.
Okay. All right. Anybody else want to chime in on this question before we move on? Because I'm going to go to Mike the 85 Bears question via Discord next, and it's going to be probably take up a little bit of discussion. Great panel here tonight. I know somebody's probably going to have a little bit to say about every bit of it. Anybody else want to touch base? Brian, what do you do?
I agree with Ed. It really doesn't matter what I throw. You're concentrated on your betting and your tossing. That's more important because the number of rolls is not going to get you any more money. You want to avoid the 7. At Fremont, it matters because there's a status that you can win. So it doesn't matter if you have 10 rolls or 20 rolls, because if it's not quality, a 10-roll quality roll beats out a 20 crap roll. So it's all about, in the end, how much money you're going to make on that roll. I guess for bragging rights, you want to keep track, but really doesn't matter to me. It's just like, hey, when we're not shooting at Fremont for the counts, it's all about which numbers you're aiming to hit that'll give you the most bang for your buck, and that's what I'm concentrating, especially if I'm shooting. I'm not thinking about content. There's so much stuff going on and focusing, and you don't even want to count it. So if somebody wants to count it, some of our crew members, they'll count it. I don't ask them to count it, but at the end they'll say. But it's really irrelevant of what you're trying to. You're keep the main thing. The main thing is making money and avoiding the 7. That's my opinion.
All right. Anybody else want to chime in before we move on this one? How you track your rolls? I guess that was the question. Your rolls. I track everybody's rolls. That is rolling. That's how I keep track. Because when I go around the table, I know what they did the previous time.
The bottom line is they don't pay you for how many times you throw the dice. They pay you for how many chips you take to the damn cage.
Poof! Right there it is. Chips in a rack. Don't come back, right, Alfredo?
I think the other thing that's being missed here, whether it's tracking your own rolls, it's really tracking the table. The trends on
you can throw 14
direction,
aces, and if you're not on a Krampus table like John, you ain't made shit.
The same number can be hit by various different people, all throwing different sets, and it happens every single time you're at the table. If you're not being aware of what those trends are, you're missing out on an advantage that you could have if you're tracking. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, okay. I definitely agree.
All right. Yep. Chris, you were getting ready to say something, Dice Dejan?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a quick comment. If people are interested in tracking, like, just sheer number of rolls, not necessarily what actual numbers are hitting, smartwatches have apps that you can download. I have a counter on my Apple Watch. I don't use it very often, but there's times where, because Jeff, you play with me, I use the Clay system of counting box hits and stuff. But if I'm looking to track actual rolls themselves, I have an app on my watch that I can just hit, and it'll tell me exactly how many rolls it is.
That must be the same app Chris Demon Dog was using.
Yeah, it is the same one. Yep.
Yeah. He did that on our little meetup out here.
Yeah, that's the same one I use. Yeah, Arno, you saw it. I used it on your roll. I was that day. You were on stick right. I was over on stick left. It's the same one. All right, guys, let's move on. If you have a question, I got my guys queuing it. Chris, if you'll do me a favor, keep an eye on the questions. John's helping me. The regular queue chat is not working tonight. But I have a question that was sent to me earlier today from Mike the Bears 85, who actually joined the after show last time. He might even join the show, and he wanted to ask this question here. Let me put this question up here. It's going to be kind of hard for me to read it, so let me just go ahead and put this up here. Mike the Bears 85 sent this to me today, right before the show. He said, my question for tonight's panel on the Craps Chat is, I totally understand that when the puck is off, no coming in with the cash. So what about the scenarios if the puck is off due to the shooter hitting the point? Okay, let's say, can you come in with the cash then? Also, let's say he rolls a 2, 3, 7, 11, or 12, and the puck is still off in the middle of the roll. Can you still come in with the puck? I think you guys get the gist of this. Is that called icing the shooter? When is the proper time to start? I've actually done it both ways. If the puck is off, I do, but if I think they're having a good roll, I don't interrupt it. So we're going to go to the panel and ask them what they think. And actually, let's start with Dylan. Dylan, you've been quiet tonight. Let's start with you.
Yeah, with this question, whenever the puck is off, it's fine. I don't have a problem, and the table shouldn't have a problem as long as that puck is off. It doesn't matter if it's in the middle of his scenario of the shooter hitting a bunch of craps numbers and then a 7 or whatever. You can buy in. I have no problem with anyone buying in when the puck is off, and it's not. It doesn't take that long for the dealer to for you to throw your money down with your card and get it in and get it out. The dealers are quick, and they're not going to. The table shouldn't have a hissy fit over that, as far as I'm concerned, and that's okay. My opinion.
All right, Brian, what's your opinion?
They can buy in if the puck's off. That's the proper time to buy in, because if a 7 comes out, it doesn't hurt that shooter. Then no one's gonna get blamed. So that's just the optimal time to buy in, regardless they threw a 2, 3. If a 7 comes after they buy in, it's still a safe throw. So, but when the puck's on and the 7 comes up, then they're the first to blame. So.
Exactly.
I think it just that's why I think the etiquette is there, because it's harmless for on the shooter. So unless you were resetting the ATS that they only needed one more number, then that's different now. You're buying in. I got the 2, I got the 3, I got the 11. All I need is a 12, and you're gonna buy in. Now that's a totally different scenario now. And you 7 out, and then you wipe out the ATS. Now you're gonna get some hate looks after that.
Yeah,
for sure.
I like what Jen puts up here. She's just coming with small cash, not the full bankroll. Just like buy 100 stacks of red and just get into the game. I like that idea actually. I think Victor says the same thing. Buy in for a shorter stack at a nearby card table and then move over there. So I know we had an issue at Harrah's that we learned a lesson. Chris was there, I believe, where Clay gave me money. Guys, somebody's got to turn their YouTube off. Sorry about that. And he gave me money, and they didn't count the money. I didn't get credit for my rolls because I was playing with Clay's money, and we didn't know that until after. I guess it was the middle of the hand or into the hand. He said something, Chris.
Yep. Yeah, middle of the hand.
Yeah, he said that that does it. Yeah.
The dealer said something in the middle of the hand, or what?
No,
what is it?
The box man. I walked up. Clay gives me 200 green chips. I start making bets, and then he said, we don't allow that to be here because I can't track you right now. You're betting for him, and I didn't say anything. Hand 7 out a few bit later, and then I bought in with my own money. Gave Clay his $200 back.
Okay.
And that how it went, Chris? Was that how it went?
Yep, exactly how that went.
Yep. All right. Anybody else about this buying in? Somebody else has got to. Have something to say.
The puck off, puck on thing. I don't care about the 7 being the problem. It's about the rhythm. Like I think when you're buying in with cash, you're breaking the rhythm of the game. So if it's puck off, and you're, like the question said, the guy's working an ATS, and he's got the dice. They're coming back. He's got the dice, and you buy in, and you stop the rhythm. That's what pisses people off. It's not so much that the 7's going to come because you bought in. It's you're breaking up the timing of the whole thing, and that's where you become a douchebag. I think it's more about that. Whether the puck is on or off, I think, is largely immaterial in terms of that piece. You can come into the hook and drop $100 behind the box and buy in quietly during the roll with the puck on. Nobody would ever even know it. It's about the shooter staying in rhythm and the table not getting stopped because you decided to do what I did with Jen. Right? That's I think what makes you that guy. So that's my opinion on it. You can buy in whenever you want to. Just don't break the rhythm of the table.
I agree with John. I really do. But like we were down in Chicago or Juliet a couple weeks ago, and there was a monster roll going on. One of Corey's friends, Rich, was throwing a lot of numbers, and there's a couple guys trying to sneak on a table mid roll, and I'm thinking, let's spread out here, guys. Let's create our barriers so they can't get in and that rhythm up at all. So puck off.
I imagine you just got to breathe in, and you can make a lot of room, right? You can take a deep breath, Joe, and probably take up 2 spots.
I can push the table over too. Nice combination.
What Joe just said is critical, right? Like when you're on a big roll, and especially if you're on either side of that shooter, make sure to cozy up to them or put your chips next to them, so that someone doesn't try to come in. That screws up a shooter more than anything else, is someone coming to their left or right. And if you're not guarding the shooter, shame on you as a craps player. You're the damn reason why the table lost money, because you didn't protect the shooter. And that's your job when someone else is shooting next to you.
Yeah, so here's the story. So I was playing at Harris. I was on a coffee run the other morning, and I was shooting. It was me and one other guy. That was it. And I had the dice I was shooting, and I was literally I was stacking the dice like I do, and I'm ready to kind of take my breath. And as I do that, somebody comes in behind me around the stick and says, $100 hard 10 is, frisbees out a black chip as I'm shooting the dice, and they booked the bet while I was in the middle. I'm like, are you effing kidding me? Like, A, what kind of a douchebag are you? B, why'd nobody have my back? And C, why are the dealers accepting that bet? That was just a complete awful move. And he didn't buy in. He came up with chips. He just did the worst thing at the worst possible time. Now, what did I throw? Hard 10. So the fucker got paid.
Oh,
wow. Right? Yeah, totally. Right. Which really pissed me off that he got paid on that thing, and he left. Bye, So anyway.
I don't know why it's
a bad
more
time
of a
to do something.
I don't know why it's not more
They
of a
should
practice.
never book that bet.
Dealers don't just stop a person from buying in.
Well, they shouldn't
I
book
wish
the
there was
bet
like a
if,
stop sign.
you already got the
Like, there should
dice.
be there should be a stop sign on it, like a video thing that says that's like in blackjack, can't buy in mid shoe.
Like golf, quiet, please.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. Ed, go ahead.
Really
Ed, you had a comment? Ed, you had a comment?
Drop $100 on the frickin' table and say 96 across and $4 for the crew on the hard ways. That's all you got to do. Drop one bill, 96 across, $4 on the hard ways for the crew, and then shut the flipping shit up.
Second quote of Ed of the night.
All right. The other thing that goes with this is someone that drops all their freaking money, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, and then doesn't book a damn bet.
That is
something.
They're gonna
that
make
is
a damn bet if I got
ridiculous.
the dice. I can guarantee you that. I'm gonna call
ahead.
them out and say, put your money on the line, asshole. You just bought in. You gonna bet?
And tell the story from February.
You're gonna call them out. You gotta call those assholes out. You gotta run them out of the casino.
Tell the story from February,
or you gotta make them leave the frickin' table.
That's what we did.
That's it.
Yeah. Tell the story from February. Mark and Clay.
Yeah, John. Jeff had the dice. Some asshole bought in, wouldn't bet. We made him bet. We stopped the table. We said, you're going to bet or you're going to get off the table. We told him about 4 or 5 times. He finally grabbed his chips up and left.
And on the way out, this is a good one from Clay. He says, you can't tell me what to do. And after they said, well, get off the table, the guy goes, you can't tell me what to do. And Clay turns to him and looks and said, we just did. Because he left.
Yeah, I mean, you can't let them people do that bullshit to you. You got the dice. Ed. You control the dice. If the dice are coming to you, you control the table. Okay?
Yeah.
If the dice are in
dice...
your hands, you control the table.
Right.
You can push them back, and you can point to that SOB down there in the corner and say, I hadn't seen you bet yet. You just bought in. You interrupted my toss. I want to see where your bet is.
Yep.
And
that's what I did.
Right there.
Yeah, I pushed the dice out. Yep. That's exactly what I did. I pushed the dice out. And then, of course, Mark and Clay and Ed went on the attack. And somebody else did at the table, too.
I mean, you can't put up with that bullshit. I mean, but if you're going to buy in somebody like out here watching, just buy in for $100, 96 across, $4 for the hard ways for the crew, and then shut up.
Hey, how many of you guys?
I've
seen so many fights break out in my playing years just because of a buy-in. Like people would go into the parking lot or even fist fight right at the table. And the pit bosses, security takes a while to get there, but they're all on the ground. And I was shooting and it's like these guys are just going off because the guy just bought in mid-roll and he had hundreds. He had all black chip level.
All right,
and he just went over there and punched the guy, man. It's crazy. Has any of you guys witnessed that?
Yes. It's just it's crazy. I don't know about a fight, but an argument like what Ed just told you. I mean, it was everybody at the table because I pushed the dice back out. The stick man brought him back to the center of the table, pushed him back out to me again. I said, no, I want him to make his bet, and he said, I don't have to bet. And boy, the table lit off on him.
I was at the Orleans.
If they buy in the middle of the road, they need to make a damn bet, and you need to force them to do it.
I was at
that never happens in the Midwest, Brian, because we're all polite and we are considerate of each other in the Midwest. So I'm sorry you're experiencing that.
Yeah, I was going to say that's kind of rare here. That's very rare in St. Louis for sure. But I don't know about Chicago and the Chicago area, but that's very rare. I've never seen, I never seen fights or any insanity like that. That's just uncalled for. We have. I guess just more self-discipline and self-control, or some of that players not knowing, new players trying to get into the thing, but some people just don't care.
Yeah,
and
this guy wasn't a new player. Go ahead, Alfredo. This guy wasn't a new player. Go ahead.
I've seen several fights happen, and it's usually late at night with two people that are super drunk. In one case, you have Hawaiians, and they believe in karma. And someone came up, and it was actually another Hawaiian, and he just laid down a bunch of black on the DC in the middle of a roll, and the guy did 7 out, and there was a bunch of money on the table, and the guy next to him turned to him, big guy, and just punched him and knocked him out. And it was crazy. The cops came and obviously took that guy out, but he took huge offense that the guy's just going to walk up to a hot table and just throw the money all down there, and that happened. And I guess the emotions got the best of him because he was drinking a little bit too.
All right, let's go ahead and welcome in Leon from Great Craps. Leon, welcome. You just joined a little while ago. We're in the midst of this talking about, when the proper time is to buy in. If you didn't see the question, I can display it one more time. If you didn't see it, actually, it's pretty long. It just talks about, when the proper time is to buy in, puck on, puck off, even if it's not at the beginning of the roll. What do you think?
Yeah, I think when the puck's off, you're good. As long as, like you were talking about, if they're on an ATS roll, you got to be cognizant of that. Not interrupt the rhythm of that roll, but otherwise, if the puck's off, buy in. Most of the time, I don't know, half or more of the time that I see this happen, it's brand new players, and they don't know what they're doing, and they don't know the etiquette of the game. And then I think it's on us to educate them as more seasoned players to say, hey, don't do that. Been on the table a few times when that happened, and either stop them from buying in, like, whoa, hang on, this guy's a good shooter, he's in the middle of a hot roll here. Wait till the puck is off, or, hey, next time, just so you know, the etiquette is yada, 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 and educate them, kind of inform them and go from there. And most people, unless they're drunk and stupid, or, if they're new and they want to learn, they're receptive to that. And then, they don't do it again. You prevented it for some future occasion.
Right.
So.
Let's go to Arnell. Arnell, you're a pretty laid back player. I mean, I saw that when there was a couple issues at the table, you didn't say anything. You were just laid back. You were quiet. You just let whatever the dealer mistake was or the payout wrong. You just sat back there. How do you deal with that?
Oh yeah. When I'm at the tables, I don't like all that negative stuff. So I try to tune it out. If I'm rolling, I don't care who's at the table or who's buying in. I mean, the buy-ins, everyone's right as long as the puck's off. But again, if it is an ATS table, then and they're only off like one more number or something like that, you got to be, just try not to buy in on a good roll, or like Leon was saying, hopefully the players stop, that person from buying in the middle of the roll, good roll. That just happened to me the other day. Almost hit the ATS, only needed the yo, and some guy, sure enough, jumped on the hook and bought in. And I immediately turned my bets off, and right away, right after that, I was the only person that went off. Some of the other guys just kind of looked and they didn't go off, so rolled and out came the 7. Unbelievable.
Yep. Got some more questions coming in. Chris, I know you're sitting there probably texting back and forth with somebody, but what do you think about the whole buy-in, puck on, puck off?
Yeah, I'm buy-in when the puck's off guy. I don't really get involved with it unless it affects me directly or someone that I'm playing with directly. Otherwise, then I let people handle it. But in Philly area, you gotta be careful. I mean, you look at somebody wrong at the craps table, and they're ready to go to fist. So you gotta be careful. Gotta be ready. But again, if it directly affects me or somebody I'm playing with, then I'll get involved. Otherwise, I'll just let whoever handle it and do my own thing.
All right. Anybody else
it's very different.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah. Do you find, guys, that it's different locally versus like in Vegas? Like, for example, here in Seattle, most people who go to our casinos, we know them all. It's all familiar faces. Nobody ever buys in wrong. If somebody does, it's a mistake most of the time. In Vegas, I find that you get a bunch of just drunk idiots buying in, and it's not like they mean bad by it. They aren't coolers. They're just douchebags that are buying in because they're drunk. In Reno, and I noticed there because I think Reno and Seattle, like losing money matters to those casinos. So in those cases, there's a different vibe to it versus Vegas where nobody gives a crap. Vegas, it's like all bets are off, and I don't see any animosity out there. I didn't see much of it anyway. I see way more of that locally. Do you feel the same way? Like more partying in Vegas, and who cares versus a local casino?
Maybe so. Let's see if anybody else wants to answer the question. We have a couple of really good questions before anybody drops off the panel, because I know a couple of you couldn't stay the entire night. This next question I think is going to address a couple of you. But Craig, do you you're a fairly new player. You've been playing a couple of years now. What do you think?
It happens, I think, locally more than it happens in Vegas, from my experience. The dealers just let it happen all the time. It's abysmal. I give them a good stare. I'm like, really? You couldn't just tell them no and wait for the point, or wait for the 7, kind of thing.
I have one question for you, Craig.
Ridiculous. What's that?
I have a question for you. When you give them the stare, are you on your tippy toes then, or are you flat-footed?
I'm usually flat-footed and looking up.
Good. How was that one, Chris? Was that a pretty good one? Was that a good one, Chris?
It was a good one. Jack, check your phone.
Or I could just look over at Chris, and Chris will look down at the people because he's so tall.
I don't get it. Last time?
What's that?
How about at Parks last week?
Yeah. I was on my tiptoes at Parks.
All right, guys. I don't know if this is going to work or not, because I would real quick show it. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not. You probably aren't. Can you see that? I can't make that big. I might bring that over. That's Craig on his tippy toes at Dice Dejan's dungeon there earlier this week. Maybe I'll bring that over. But sorry, Craig. I just had to get that one in there.
Hey, man. It is what it is.
We're all amongst friends. Nice one, nice one, nice one. So look, we've got another question. We'll go ahead and move on. This is a good question, and I know Ed's going to like this question. Alfredo's going to like it. John's going to like it. Arnell, the experienced longtime players. Here we go. Let me put this question up here if I can get my mouse over there. This is, have you guys ever hit table max on betting? And I'm going to start with Alfredo and Ed. So Ed, you go ahead and answer the question first. I know I've heard stories, but what do you think about hitting table max, and have you ever done it?
All right, let me see if I'm on. Am I on? Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, I wasn't sure if I had muted myself earlier. Table max 5,000, yes. Table max 10,000, no.
Wow, nice. Alfredo.
Yeah, I've been at table max on the 2,000 to 3,000 level. Really haven't done it at the 5,000 or 10,000.
Okay. Anybody else want to take a stab at this one? John?
Same as Alfredo. I've been up to 2,000. I've never gotten to 5.
I have not done a table max at all, with the exception of my local at 300 when it's table max. That's the only time, and I wouldn't consider it table max because the max was so low.
It ain't hard
Our
to
local's
get
500
5,000, guys. Come on.
Yeah, say that again, Ed. Say that again.
I said it ain't hard to get to 5,000. Come on, guys. Man up.
You do need a casino that allows you to do it. So, like the Orleans is 3,000.
You got to have the right
never
shot.
Never going to get there.
You got to be finding the right number. It's easier to get there on a 4 and a 10 than it is a 6 and 8 for sure. And I've only been there on the 4 and 10.
Okay. All right. Anybody else want to talk about this? Anybody? Arnell, how about you?
I buy in pretty low, so I mean, I haven't hit any table max, but I've gotten to like 2,000. Out in Illinois, I mean, table max is pretty high, so you got 10,000, 25,000. I'll never hit that with my buy-in.
No. All right. Anybody else want to take a stab at the table max question? Anybody?
About Brian. Brian's over there scratching his chin. He's got an answer for us.
Oh, I never go to table max. If I got 1,000 up there, I'm racking it. I'm not keeping it out there. I'm racking it. That's $1,000 in my pocket, man. I'm not gonna go up to table max. I've seen so many people says, "Did you see how much I left out there?" And then they 7 out. They didn't even collect. It just happens too much. I rather, if I hit the 1,000, I'm racking it and I'm regressing. That's just smarter play, in my opinion, to keep it. If you're playing for a long time, as much of a lot of sessions, $1,000 in your pocket feels real good rather than seeing all that money. So I'm not going to table max, and I never did. So that question is probably not for me.
Nope, easy answer for you. Thank you. Anybody else want to take the table max question?
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
I was there on Chef Dice, Brian. We were there on Chef Dice in Reno. $1,000 max on that table. I had my 9 to 950.
Oh yeah, all of us were
as close as we got. Yeah.
Yes,
that was about.
You had a $5,000 10 or a $5,000 4. You're collecting 10,000 less the VIG. There ain't nothing wrong with reducing at that point to say 2,500.
In Reno with John, that's where we experienced.
If you're hitting those damn numbers, you need to knock the shit out of that damn casino while you're hitting them numbers.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
And I'm a little bit reckless.
What, Ed? Reckless?
You definitely want to rack some, put some in your chips.
Well, by the time I've got to 5,000, I've already got 5,000 in the rack.
Yeah, that's usually how I play
I'm
too.
probably hopping that damn
If I got the money
then.
out there, that means I've got that much or closer in my rack.
I mean, you go from 100 to 250 to 500 to 1,000 to 2,500. I mean, you just, when you hit it at 1,000, go to 2,500, collect that $5,000 chip. Next time you hit it, you go to 5,000. It ain't that many hits.
Yeah.
I mean,
and there's a couple people. Couple people here in the chat.
You just got to hit the numbers. You got to hit them. But when they come, you need to take advantage of it. Ain't nothing worse. Sure. Ain't nothing worse than sitting there with $1,000 5 or $1,000 4, and somebody else is sitting there with a $5,000 4. You're collecting 2,000, putting 1,000, 2,000 in your rack. They're putting 5,000 in your rack. Then they're regressing, so they put another 2,500 in the rack. Shit, hit that damn thing.
Hit that damn thing. Quote number 4 of the night from Ed. A couple people here, both Victor and JR, talk about table max equals taxes, and IRS signer, maybe so, but it's like you said.
They got nothing to do with no damn IRS.
I haven't seen that.
No, you need 300 to 1 on a prop bet to get taxes. Everything else is not. Now, they will hit you up for an ID if you cash out over whatever their max is at their casinos. So like at Main Street, if you're cashing in over $6,000, they're going to ask for your ID and your player's card. But it has nothing to do with taxes. They just want to put you up on the board as someone to watch.
Yeah. Joe, you were going to say something?
So I can use it.
Yeah. Joe, you were going to say something? I thought you were shaking.
No.
Okay.
That was my trust acting up.
No, that's not. You're fine. All right. Anybody else on this question? We're going to move on. I should have done this question before the last question that we took because I didn't realize it was kind of mixed in. This one comes from Justice Jen. We all like Justice Jen. It says, how many of you change your dice set to finish off the last 2 or 12, the bookends, or just roll as usual and let it happen? I'll answer it real quick. The only time I'm going to shoot for the bookends is when the point's off. I'll take a stab at it. If the 7 comes, it comes and resets the ATS. But I did it on my show, Jen. You missed my show this past week. I know where you were, but I had the bookends 6 different times during the show, live show this time during my mid-20s and upper 30 rolls, and I could not hit the bookends. And I did change the dice set. Anyway, anybody else on this changing the dice set?
I don't change the dice set at all. I'm just focusing on my consistency of throwing. And if they hit, they hit. If they don't, they don't. I'm not good enough at throwing the dice yet to start picking numbers off.
All right.
Yeah. So I won't change it, but if I'm on a hardway set and hitting primary hits, you could set it as a primary hit there. Or if I'm setting an all 7, you can put it as an all 7. It doesn't change the frequency of 7s at all. So if I'm on one of those sets where it doesn't make a difference which one I'm facing, I will put it to there at some point on the one that I'm seeing the most frequency of, whether it be the top, the bottom, the face, or the back.
Okay. Anybody else want to take a stab at it?
I couldn't give 2 shits if I'm hammering 6s and 8s. So
tell us how you feel, Craig.
If you're hammering box numbers, I don't care about the ETS.
All right. Well, Craig, since I have you on the screen here, I'm going to show that, Craig. There you go, Craig, a better picture of it. There it is. Thanks, Chris. Did you see it?
Really
Go ahead, Ed.
A trick question. How much have you got on the 5 or 9 or the 6 or 8 at that point?
Usually it's going to be more than what you're.
If you're sitting there with a $2,000, an $1,800 6 or 8, and you only need a 2 or 12, I'd rather, I can make my money by hitting that 6 or 8.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to make more money than I'm going to make if I can hit the 2 or 12. Depends on how much I got on that on that all out there. If I got 25 or $50 on that all, I'm probably going to be sniping that sucker. Trying to.
Okay.
I don't have a problem changing sets, but it's a trick question. I mean, you got to know where you're at on the table and what you're hitting versus what the risk is, right? So if I use my sets, I mean, if any of y'all watched that show tonight that I did with Darth Nader, you got sets you can go to that'll give you a higher probability of hitting those 2 or 12s, and your secondaries are 6 and 8s. Well, that's fine. I don't care. I'll change sets in a heartbeat. Dealers won't even know I've changed sets. So it's just a matter of where you're at on the table and what your bets are.
Yep.
All right. Arnell, did you have something you wanted to say to the dice set? Because I know that you set your dice, and
I usually never change it. Once I pick a set I'm going to use, I usually don't change it, whether it's got ATS or fire or repeaters, because I usually only use 3 main sets. It's either going to be a hardware set, cross 6, or the L7. So one of those, I know all of those for me will hit every single number. It's just a matter of time of that. That's why I hit so many like ATSs and
I do
fire bets and stuff like that.
I do have a question for you, because I was there when you hit the 5-point fire bet, and maybe I'm just a little curious. I watch you set the dice on Live Fantasy Craps, and you really can't see what you do from the screen unless you're watching on 70-inch screen, and then I can't even tell it. Arnell, when you touch the dice, as soon as you touch the dice and they're set, you immediately throw them. I would call it more of a flick than a throw, and it's just you're so consistent with touch the dice set, boom, they're gone. I mean, there's no hesitation in your throw.
My inline toss, If I do the inline toss, it's immediate.
Yeah,
I don't think about it. I'm not even looking at the landing zone, because I pretty much it's all like muscle memory.
Yep.
That's why if you see in any of my tosses, as the dice are leaving, that's when my head's turning. So I don't really focus on looking at the landing zone ahead of time. I mean, I used to, but nowadays I'm more of like what Alfredo said, maybe more of like a rhythm roller. But that's why my attitude changed towards doing the strict par shot or DI, and going towards these other types of tosses. I just learned, for me, the off axis. So basically I consider all my shots off axis. I don't care what set I'm using. If I'm doing inline or stack toss, it's all off axis to me. So I just learned which sets for me will hit everything.
All right. Brian, how about you? You try to snipe the ATS?
You got to keep the main thing, like I always say. If your dice set is avoiding the 7 and you need one more number to snipe, 7 kills all the dreams. Your box number dreams, your pressing dreams, the ATS, it kills everything. So you got to keep it. If it's avoiding the 7, you're going to be making money. But if you just change it and you 7 out, it just crushes everything. Even, I agree with Alfredo, what he says of using the same family set to get different results. But the 7s are facing the same way. But in my experience, I've seen, I don't know what it is, if it's the dice are chipped differently or worn out differently. The 7 just comes, even it's the same, So I think keeping the same dice set is more important, because the weight of the dice, your consistency is with those same faces, because you change the faces, but it's the same family set. And the 7s are the same place, but one of the edges are more dull than the other, then you get the 7. That's just my superstition, my philosophy. So I would just keep on going with the same set.
All right. Anybody else on this comment? Churro, you're quiet. You got anything to say?
No, I don't change my dice set. I stick to the same set. Recently, I've been playing the 1-2-3-2, which has been my favorite one so far. I've been hitting some inside numbers, some outside numbers, so a good variety of everything. But I never change my dice set, so that would be my answer.
Okay. All right. Anybody else here want to answer the question? I'm gonna real quick just ask this question, probably for a yes or no, because I don't know how to ask it any other way. Jeremy Bennett asked the question, since we've been talking about the ATS tonight, is who has tracked the ATS over a year on their tables? I would say I could if I went back and looked at all my videos. I don't track how many times I hit it. To me, it's just what it's called, the bonus bet, and it's a bonus if it hits, and if it hits, it hits. If you ever watched any of my shows, you know that I get excited when I get close and when I hit it. I'm the entertainer, and I usually get pretty silly with that. But anybody else that's here that's a YouTuber that tracks their ATS? Joe, go ahead.
I go in waves. In 1 week, I'll hit several parts of it or the whole ATS a couple times. And then I'll go a week or two where I don't hit it. Like this week, I hit tall like 3 times, and I hit these small like once. So I mean, it varies. It really does. I don't really keep track of it as far as I hit it 20 times in the last month or so. I don't do that. Just kind of a session per session type basis.
Okay. Anybody else track? Alfredo, I'm sure you probably have some tracking mechanism there that you do as far as, you get pretty animated. Like when I hit a piece of it, when I watch your show, you get animated too, because it's like
I do. It's a nice thing
fun
to do. I try to keep that to the all, but every once in a while, if I haven't hit tall or small for a while, it's nice. Hey, I'll get freaking happy if I have a hard way that I parlay 3 times in a row. So it depends on what it is. But I've tracked it, and the reason why I bet it on myself is I typically hit it between 7 and 8 every 7th or 8th roll. And you only need to hit it every 10 rolls if you're at the same bet level for it to be profitable.
Yep. All right. Anybody else?
Yeah, I definitely don't track it at home. I mean, I keep track if I went to the casino and hit a side or hit the all or something like that, but I'm not paying attention, or I don't actually keep track of any of my rolls anymore at home. I just like practice the sets and the tosses.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm the same. I don't track it. I might hit it once a week or so in the morning shows, but I hit more repeaters. My big thing is I'll whack 9 sixes in a morning show. That's where I find myself hitting more numbers, not the ATS.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow this up.
I find way more consistent on the inside.
Since we're on this question, real quick, Darksider just put this with. He wants to know honestly who's ahead in the ATS long term. It's from my standpoint, I'm not ahead of it. But there are sessions that I have that in a 4-day session with the group, we're catching 10 or 12 pieces of it, and typically one whole piece of it. And from the way I look at it, it's a bonus bet. That's why it's called a bonus bet. And I don't keep that money with my craps playing money until I hit the cage. Then it all becomes the same. So I don't know that I would. Ed's got his finger up, so we'll go to him next. Go ahead, Ed.
All right, so playing on your home table don't mean a damn thing. Everything's different when you go to a casino.
Yeah.
It's totally different. All right, so it depends on what you're hitting. Are you hitting the numbers? And people don't understand this, but if you know what the hell you're doing with the dice, and are you hitting what you're expecting to hit? That's the question. Are you hitting what you're expecting to hit? Then you can change sets, and you can snipe those numbers on a casino table. If you're not, then you keep throwing the same set, and you get a lucky bounce, and you hit a 2 or you hit a 12. All right, so, or you change to your horn set, and you keep hammering inside numbers. Well, I don't care. I can press those inside numbers up quick as anybody. So, what you hit at home don't mean a damn thing compared to what you hit in a casino. So it doesn't matter what you can hit at home. When you got a box man staring you down, you got 5 boxes sitting over there. You got five suits over there, with their arms crossed, looking at you, and they're watching everything you're doing. That's when it's different. That's when it's totally different.
Yeah.
And so,
practice is given.
Are you there to make money? Are you there to shoot? So that's the question, right? So you end up, you gotta make a decision in flight, just like you're a bomber over North Germany. You gotta make a decision in flight where you're going to attack. And are you going to attack the same number? You're going to hop that number? Are you going to shoot for that horn number you don't have yet? Which is it? You got to make that decision in flight. You got to be confident when you do it. If you're not confident, just keep throwing what you're throwing.
Well, I'm just going to say this, right? I've seen Arnell multiple times when we were live hit not only the fire bets, but also the ATS, right? When we had Big AZ's visit, in a matter of 24 hours, I hit 8 different sides of the ATS, never hit the all. if you practice enough, it will make a difference in your play. But if you don't put in the practice and you're just throwing random, or you just don't have enough time in it, don't put any mind into how you're throwing. As Brian said, random people can hit the ATS or one side of the ATS more often than a skilled shooter. But when you hit a pocket like that in a 24-hour period, hitting 8 sides of the ATS, that made a huge difference in how I recovered a bankroll on a trip that started off like shit. And I ended up cashing out over $6,000, almost $6,000, 5,000 something to the positive. So it just depends. I didn't hit it all.
Like Jeff said, and I agree. The bonus is a bonus bet. You make your living hitting box numbers.
Oh yeah.
That's it. I mean, the bonus is a bonus bet. If you ain't going to shoot for the damn bonus, don't put no money on it. Screw it. Just play box numbers.
Right. All right, guys. Yep. Yeah, let me hold up 1 second. We're going to come back to this. Brian's got to leave us, but Brian, there's a question here for you from Darksider. Wants to know what your favorite strategy is when the table is trending cold. Real quick, you can answer that. I know you got to go, so I appreciate your time tonight. If you answer that, we'll get back to talking about bonus bets.
Oh, okay. When the table is cold, my strategy is color up and leave. That's the best dark side strategy right there. But yeah, you guys know I'm a hybrid player. I'm not a true dark side player. I play the light switch. If the table, I'll go dark. I'll do a hybrid. If they got short rolls, I'm good. If they go on a long roll, then we'll switch to the light side. But basically, that's how I play it. I don't have a true just dark side. Dark side, for us Hawaii guys, it's a grind. I mean, you win on one bet, and that's it. It's not exciting for us guys, and it's you can make money, but it's really kind of boring for us. You know, just one bet. So it has to be a hybrid of some sort where you can be collecting or you're in the game. Or we don't fly out for 6 hours just to be a dark side player. We either leave the table or we play a hybrid, or some guys just take a chance. They just press on every single person, which is not a good idea, but that's just, they just want the excitement, right?
Okay. Well, we appreciate your time. Anything before you go? Would you like to mention anything about HCS, the Hawaiian group? Anything going on? You're doing an awful lot of crapsy shows. You have big audiences for that. What's new?
Yeah, nothing new for HCS. We just regular live in the casinos. I got tons of film to edit, and you guys, those of you guys who edit film, it takes forever. So I mean, one live 1 hour film takes about at least 14 hours to edit. So it's not that easy. But yeah, I just normally just been putting that out. The crapsies on the weekends, people are loving it. They get they want to win the chip, right? They want to win that chip, and it's like the jacket. The jacket doesn't mean anything. It's just the status of beating 50 players and outlasting everyone for 100 rolls. So people look forward to that, and I'm fortunate to have people to shoot with me, because imagine I don't know how like Joe does it. He throws. Oh, there's. Chiro got a chip too. Chiro got a chip. Alfredo won a chip, and yeah, they'll tell you it's not easy, right, Alfredo and Chiro, to win that chip. But it's not about the chip; it's the status. Waylon has 6 chips. He's won 6 tournaments, which is pretty crazy, and not surprising. But his strategies are tested against 50 other people, and he comes out ahead. So
nice.
Yeah.
I have one final question before you go. You know what I'm getting ready to ask, right? Is that the chickens in the background?
Can you hear them?
Yes.
I got a better mic. You guys can hear the chickens.
Yes, we can hear the chickens for a change. Somebody told me you had a chicken filter.
Oh, I thought I did. That was the question at DiceCon. Everybody says, "Where's the chicken? Did you kill all the chickens?" But I said I got a better mic, so I got one of the Shure mics to make sure that the chickens are not heard. But I guess you guys can hear it. You know?
Yeah, Brian, we thank you for coming on. As a pleasure, it's always to have you here. I'm glad you were able to make it. I know you have to get ready to go. Any closing words before we move on to the next question?
No, I want to thank all of you guys here. You guys have been giving a lot of information. You guys don't know how much you guys influence the community, because if Craps Chat was online when I started, man, shortening the learning curve, I would have learned so much, and I would have saved so much money with all of you guys sharing you guys' knowledge. So you guys are doing really well. All of us together as a community, sharpening everybody's game and making them not lose money and understand, because you guys put in so much time on the real life casinos that you either get by experiencing it, but with all of you guys sharing it, they're already advanced once they got on the table. So thank you guys all for being unselfish and sharing all of your ideas and your information and knowledge.
I think Ed has a question or a comment.
I got a question for Brian. Brian, will you do an interview with me so that we can tape it for posterity? Uncle Mel turned me down, and I need a Hawaiian perspective for my series.
Say yes, Brian. Yes.
I heard your comment. I heard your comment. You said we want to film it before. A lot of guys are gone now, so we want to film it while you're still alive. Is something going to happen to me? Is that why you want?
I'm getting old, Brian. I'm talking about myself. I got to get this stuff on the damn tube before I'm gone.
Well, since you put me on the spot, sure, Ed, I'll do an interview with you.
Everybody heard that. Everybody heard that. I need a Hawaiian perspective, and I need you to go look in the history books. I need the history books. I want the history of the Hawaiian.
I'll exchange you for some brown water when I come to Biloxi. How's that?
Oh, he'll take you up on that,
baby.
I can tell you that.
I'm on.
I can tell you that. Thank you, Brian. Anybody else want to say something, Brian, before he goes? I appreciate you coming on, Brian. As always, you're welcome.
Thanks, Brian, for everything you do. Your contributions are greatly appreciated.
All right, Brian. Thank you. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to head over to Dustin's question. We're pushing up on the hour and 45-minute time on the show. There is no time limit tonight. We can go as long as you want. Some people do have to work in the morning. So I'm going to put this question up here. It's about DiceCon, but I'm kind of going to go around to all the panelists here and ask them, what they've done lately at their meetups. So although the question is for those that attended DiceCon, what did you personally learn about yourself or something new of the game? I'm going to change the question up. And if you've attended a meetup lately, what did you do to learn about yourself or that helped you with the game? John, you already mentioned DiceCon. I'm going to change the screen when somebody starts talking. Who here has been to a meetup lately other than Ed, me, and John? Is there anybody that wants to start that question? All right, we'll go to Joe. Joe, you go to take the question over, and I'm going to adjust the screen.
Okay, I will start with I met up a couple weeks ago in Joliet, Illinois, with Arnell and Corey and a whole bunch of people down there. Demon Dog was there and a whole bunch of people. Anyhow, there was a huge roll, the 51 roller, and I was starting to lose a little bit of money prior to this roll, so I started playing the Horseman, and I was only playing $10 bets because it was a $10 table. So I lost my first two $10. I got my second two $10 back, so I was broke even. And this is about 10, 15 rolls into the roll. And he just kept going on and on. I sat out on the entire roll, and everybody else was making thousands of dollars around me. And I just sat and watched, and everybody's like, Joe, get in there, start betting. I'm like, no. I said, I have a stigma where I will not jump into somebody's bet when I decide not to, and I will not tip the dealers in the middle of a roll like that either, because that's a bad karma for me. So I sat there and I was cheering for everybody. 51 rolls, watching everybody make thousands of dollars, and I made 0.
I think you were the only one that didn't make money.
I was the only one. I did not lose
I
or I
found
did
that
not win in that
crazy.
roll. That was an amazing roll, and I just sat there and watched, and I cheered everybody on, and I was, yeah, let's go, I was standing right next to the shooter even, and
it was even a $10 table. You should have just left 64 across or something.
I just have
same bet. We still would have
I
made
have a
money.
stigma about jumping in on a roll like that, because as soon as I jump in, the damn 7 comes right out.
Because that's what we were all there for. Was
I know,
make some money and run.
I was the only one that missed out on it, but I saw it. So that's what I learned. Well, do not be afraid to jump in on a roll if you're ready at the table and you don't have to buy in.
Yeah, and that table was good because nobody was late betting or anything like that. Everybody kept their chips out of the way. I mean, that whole table knew what they were doing. I'm just surprised that you didn't, capitalize.
It's my stigma. It's my karma, thing. So I learned to jump in also.
Who wants to go next on that question as far as what on a meetup here recently about yourself and craps games? Somebody raise their hand or start talking. All right, go ahead, Leon.
So I think I'm the only one on the panel with the distinction of having gone to both Brownwater and DiceCon, which 2 weeks apart. It was a lot of craps in a 2-week span. So. Story of my DiceCon was pretty much everything that Joe just talked about. I walked up on, it seemed like every good roll that I was present for, I walked up after it had started and had not bought in. And I am a stickler for buying in at the proper time, or if you really must, go to the table next door and get some chips and then come and buy in like that. But same sort of deal. I'm not superstitious, but there's still certain things I don't do. So most of those rolls I either couldn't get on the table because they were so packed, or just didn't because I hadn't bought in and just stood there and watched great rolls go by and people make lots of money and missed every time. I saw the number 2 roller for the whole DiceCon roll his 41 rolls. Later that night, I watched his wife roll a 40 to 50 plus. I didn't know the exact count because I walked up after it started, but I could tell just by the amount of money that was being made on the table between her and the 2 people next to her, and just the loose pacing of the game and how many rolls were being rolled. It had to be 40 to 50 plus. Didn't buy in on that one either. And she hit, I just played 6, 7, 8, and she hit all kinds of 6s and 8s, and just FOMOing the whole thing. So, Holy Roller put out a really good video today or yesterday about regret, and he had a great story. Put 2 videos out about regret, and had a great story to go along with the second one. And that was pretty much my experience. His experience was a little different from mine, because he learned from the first set of regret and got in on the roll and ended up coloring up pretty well. But mine just didn't go that way. So that was pretty much my whole DiceCon. And so I kind of learned from Brownwater. I learned just to get out there and play and stick with my conservative strategy and make money. I learned that it's a really good thing to go to a meetup where people know how to roll. And
Sure.
Dad will tell you, don't count on that.
Your audio dropped off a little bit. Leon.
Okay. As Ed will tell you, don't count on that. Don't go to a meetup thinking with a bunch of great rollers, thinking you're going to just make a lot of money, because everybody rolls great and also everybody rolls like crap. So you got to understand where to get in and where not to. And that's kind of what I learned from Brownwater. So,
while you have the spotlight there, let me ask you a question if you can hear me. I was talking to you at the Brownwater Bash, and initially you came to Biloxi without the intent of thought that you were going to go to DiceCon. You want to tell the story about how you got to DiceCon?
So, DiceCon being on Father's Day this weekend, or this year, it's during DiceCon.
Your audio went out again.
Speaking, but DiceCon being on Father's Day. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So DiceCon being on Father's Day, I wasn't going to go. And my wife plays roller derby, and she had some sort of thing on Mother's Day that was a travel roller derby match she was going to go to. And I said, you can't go to the thing on it's Mother's Day. You got to spend it with the kids, So she opted out of that. And then I realized after Jeremy put out the dates, I had stuck my foot in my mouth because here DiceCon is on Father's Day. So I talked her out of Mother's Day. I can't then say, hey, I'm going to go to DiceCon on Father's Day. And so it turns out my boy had my back. So I have 8-year-old twins, a boy and a girl. A couple of days before the deadline to buy your tickets for DiceCon, my wife says, hey, you got to hear what your son wants to do for Father's Day. And I didn't think anything about it. The next day, she's like, hey, you really got to hear what your son wants to do for Father's Day. I said, hey, what is it? And he's right there. He says, we want to take you to Vegas for Father's Day. And I'm like, look at her. I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you not look at the calendar? Do you not remember what I said was on Father's Day? Like, well, I'm not going to go to Vegas and not go to DiceCon, And so it worked out. So we went to Vegas and made a Father's Day of Sunday, and then I went to the opener on Sunday. Worked out. My wife couldn't quite make the first day, but we had a friend in Vegas who watched the kids for me, and I was able to go to DiceCon. Bought my ticket on the last possible day that you could get your tickets for DiceCon. And everything worked out, and my boy had my back. So we had a fun time. I spent a lot of it with family, so I didn't get to play as much crap as I would have if I had gone just by myself. That might have been a good thing, though, so it preserved my bankroll a little bit.
Yep.
And then they took off a day early because my kiddo, one of them got sick with a little stomach virus, and they went ahead and went on back. And so I had the last day of that to myself. So that was really nice.
That was a great story. I just wanted to add that in there because on the last day that I saw you in Biloxi, that's what you said you were going, and you seemed to be pretty elated that you got to attend both of them. So thanks for coming on, Leon. Let's move on to some other stories. I think everybody here has probably been to a meetup of some sort. Anybody else want to take a stab at the question? Yeah. Go ahead, Alfredo.
Yeah, I'll take a stab. I'll just keep it brief. I think the biggest thing that I learned, I already knew. If I'm going to take the risk and bet on folks that it might be the first time live that I was betting on, I'm not going to be concerned with whether I win or lose. But after getting a really, really big roll and then coming out slightly down because I didn't, stop myself from playing the last day after being up even more than 1,000 to be able to lose that within 24 hours of leaving, I just really need to stick to, if I'm up that amount, maybe I have to limit myself to that 500 or something like that, so that I still lock away that win, even if it's just $700 or $800. That locking away that win, if you fought through several days of already playing lots of hours, then you should make sure that you're leaving a winner if you have the opportunity to do so. So
okay,
just something.
All right, thank you. Before we move on. Before we move on, Stanley, if you'll unmute yourself, we'll come back with a question for you. We're going to continue with this question, but you're muted, so you're going to have to come off mute here when I ask you the question. I think, Arnell, did we hit you about the meetup stuff? Question, I don't know if I got to you or not.
I just did a meetup with, Joe from Craps Journey, and, several times with Corey and them. Even after that, and we've been killing it. I told them, I said, hey, we gotta just have the group of us and keep trying to hit up the casino. I gotta build my bankroll for August.
Okay, all right. Let's go over to Ed. Ed, you just got done with the Brownwater Bash. I know that. I was there, so I know most of it, everything's going on, but, how did you feel about your meetup?
That's a trick question again. I came out negative for the weekend, so what can I say about that? there's a lot of demands on a host that's hosting this type of meetup. So the host has to be very careful, and I quite frankly I was. I brought way less bankroll to the Brownwater Bash than I would normally take for a weekend, including the vig of the wife. So, you know, it's amazing when you meet up with a bunch of people. It was humbling to me. For the people that showed up, I mean, we had like I think the highest count was around 28 that showed up in Biloxi, and that was a totally ad hoc. Hey, y'all, come to Biloxi kind of a thing. There was no big plans, no big thing other than we just all met together. There's half of us met together at the VIP lounge. The other half was on the freaking table because they were catching rolls. But for me, I mean, you got to be careful. You got to be careful when you're playing with any kind of group of unknown players. I think it's important to manage yourself and your bankroll when you're in that position. That's about all I can say about it.
Okay. All right. How about we head over to Craig and then to Churro. Craig, you played with a couple short trips, and you had your fun trip over at Dice Dejan's house, and you went to Philly Parks this past week.
The AC trip was fun. It was great to meet part of the Mac crew. That was really the first time, because I met part of the Mac crew at Maryland Live, but then going to AC and meeting other people from other regions was really fun. Small sessions in between, like at Harrah's, was really fun. So I got to play with different players, different positions. Had a couple of good rolls. I was with you for that 49 roller at the Tropicana, and then over at Harrah's, I think I had another 20-some roll with you and Lou. And then with Chris, I had more fun doing the morning show with Chris than what happened at Parks. And from what Chris told me, he returned the next day to Parks, and it was a continuation of our disaster. The next day to Parks, and it was a continuation of our disaster.
I'm switching over to my headsets here.
That was weird. That was weird.
Yeah. Give me 1 second, guys. All right, here we go. Now I'm back on with my headsets. I should be. Somebody say something. Yep. There we go.
Hey.
Yeah. Yep, we're good. All right, Churro.
Yes.
Any? Go ahead.
Last meetup I was at was in Vegas last year. I was trying to get to a couple of these meetups. Life things are happening with my business, and we also have a 5-year-old daughter. Almost impossible to get a babysitter for a couple of days. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So a couple of life things happening that prevented me from hitting some of these. I'm really trying very, very hard to do the Seattle. I absolutely love Seattle. Been there many, many times.
Get out here.
And I would love to go. So I'm really trying hard to make sure I get to that one.
Okay.
But Chicago is driving distance for you, Churro.
All right. We got to
challenge all the people on the panel to take their shirts off in honor of Churro.
No, we're going to get to that in a second. Chris, real quick.
We're not doing that.
Any questions? We'll go to John. I don't think Dylan, I don't know if you've been to a meetup or not, but then I got a question for Stanley as we roll into this second hour. Oh, my gosh.
No, he did not just do that.
Holy cow, Chris. Let me put you up here on the screen,
no.
Chris. You talk about that. We can't look at that. Oh, my gosh. Cut them off. They're cut off. No more drinking. Sure. This show's cut off.
Jeff, you're worried about people calling in?
Where's everybody else's shirt? Ain't nobody else's shirts on. Come on.
I'm
Cheer
not sure what's worse,
let's
the
go,
porn
baby.
chats or this. What am I supposed to talk about? I lost my train of thought now with these two.
Meetups.
It's going to be a meme now.
Take your shirt off, baby. Come on.
Meetups. Ed, I charge people to take my shirt off. Okay.
I'll pay you. Come on. Here's $2. Right here.
So you're charging people. People just giving me money.
Don't tell Justice Jen. She'll pull out her bankroll.
Yes, she will.
She will. Don't worry. I've seen it before. Listen. Meetups. So I haven't really been to too many other than the one that Craig and I had, the little meetup that we did. But yeah, Craig and I in the morning, great time. Rolling wasn't great on the show, but
cheesesteaks were great.
Blast. Cheesesteaks were good. Yeah, I made cheesesteaks after our crapsy session, so that was good. That was really good. But yeah, we had a great time together. The tables at the casino weren't very good. Kind of gave a mini trip report the next day on the live, but it was just a disaster of a table. I don't think anybody was winning on the table doing anything. Light side was getting crushed. Dark side was getting crushed. Hybrid players were getting crushed. I tried a little bit of everything and was getting crushed. So we just ended up leaving. But we had a good time. So yeah, all shirts stayed on though. So, you know, that was a positive as well. And we talked a lot about Chiro's memes. So that was a good time too. Yeah. Chiro, keep the shirt on, man. Come on. Keep that for the white.
Justice Jen wants to come on without a shirt.
Yeah, did you read Justice Jen's comment?
I put it up there. Listen, all right. Listen. Justice Jen still owes me my dance and my song.
She does.
In said T-shirt.
She does.
Y'all
Jen,
can do it.
Where are you?
Virtually. Y'all can do it virtually.
She still owes me that.
Well, look at what they're asking you to do, Chris. Is look at the chat. It's up there. So Jen says, "Churro and Ed." She's laughing. She's okay. DJ, your turn. And then she says, "It's me," which must be her. She's going to take hers off. Then Jeff and John. So I think we better keep this show on
the best for last.
Saving
the best for last.
Off, and that's fine.
Right? They don't want to see the guns.
I'm going to go to bed
Keep
soon.
the summer slim down. Keep it on. Keep it on.
All right, guys.
Let's
head up. Let's head up to John. Let's head up to John and get a report on his DiceCon. And John, while you have the floor, go ahead and talk about your September meetup.
Sure. So I was going to say I haven't had the pleasure of hosting one of these yet, but you have and Ed has, and we're going to be here in Seattle the weekend of September 15th, 16th, 17th. We got baseball game planned. We got some private tables. And I expect, like Ed, I won't play a whole lot. I'm guessing a lot of folks are going to come. It'll be a lot of kissing babies and hugging people and high-fiving and watching you guys make money. It'll be cool. I think from DiceCon, the original question was, what did I learn about myself from DiceCon? Was that how the question was worded, Jeff?
Yeah. What did you learn about yourself? Yes. Yeah, I kind of changed the question.
I learned two things. Yeah, it's okay. So two things. One is I have a lot of work to do as a dealer. And I'm serious. I really do want to retire as a dealer. I'm no bullshit. And it was harder than I thought it was going to be. And I have a lot of work to do. So I think it's good that alone, that 3 hours alone, refocuses my whole attention on how I'm going to do that. But as a player, I just learned that you can't really change your stripes. I brought a shit ton of money with me. I brought a couple mortgage payments with me. And I bought them for $400 every time. And I just did what I do. I brought him for $400. I made a paycheck every day, every morning, every night, made my paycheck. I had a couple home runs because I was set up for some home runs, but it wasn't about hunting down a home run. It was about doing my thing. And I went to Vegas and I paid for the whole freaking trip and made money on the side. And I'm going to make a deposit tomorrow I'm making a 4-digit deposit tomorrow and paid for the trip. And I just think it's cemented in me, you can, and I played all right side. I played 90% right side. But it's my mindset, right? I just cemented. I tried to change. I tried to buy in for $1,000 and try some crazy shit. And that's not me. I'm just not that guy. I'm not jump in and press to the ceiling guy. I've got to feel like I got my way on the table, lock it in, and then we go. And that's what I learned is I think. I said this on my quote-unquote rant show last week. You are who you are, and you got to go fight with how you fight. You know what I mean? If you're okay with winning $100 or losing $100, cool. If you're gonna go and lose $1,000 or win 10K, that's cool too. Just gotta like give yourself a virtual hug and know who you are. That's what I cemented this week, because I really went in there trying to do something different, and I couldn't do it. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just not that guy, and I think that's okay to be who you are. So if Ed wants to go for table max in the 4 and 10, and Brian wants to pull the grand down and go home, they're both right. They're both 100% right, and I think that's what I've 30 years later, I'm coming to realize that everybody is right in terms of you got to go down the way you want to go down. We all here are just hoping to teach you better ways to live within your own system, but you can't change who you are. And that's what I learned this week. I can't change who I am.
All right. Well, good.
I'm only two drinks in and no swear words, no F-bombs, I don't think.
Well,
and that's what
you
I'm
had one already,
so I'm good.
You have one.
No, you've won.
I didn't have it on. No.
Yeah. You had one early. Yes, early.
One.
Yeah, you did.
No, an F-bomb? No.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I was really being careful.
I did want to point out that looks like Leon's changed his picture. He's actually doing dual duty. He's on Craps Chat and he's doing folding clothes. You guys probably didn't see that, but he's way to go, Leon. Way to do the double thing there.
Well, like I said in the
folding clothes
thread today, life happens. Like you still got to live life, right?
Yep. All right, here we go, guys. This will probably be the last question of the night. Stanley, if you turn it on, I'd like to welcome you to the show. If you turn on your audio, your video just went out, but your audio's on. The question comes from you, Stanley. It comes from Arnell, who's on the panel here, to Stanley, who's in Zoom. When do you know when it's time to move up chip level bets from $10 to $15 to $25 table? Philosophy or just bankroll?
Yeah, that's the question he asked in Zoom. I don't think
he asked.
Is that question about pressing? Is that about pressing, or is it about playing at those different table sizes? What is the question?
It was a question from Stanley. No, go ahead.
I'm new at this. I'm just trying to get an idea of when you progress up from. Because,
got it.
A lot of you guys play a whole lot bigger than I do, but just trying to get feet wet.
I misread the question. It was sent twice to me. Somebody texted it to me, and Arnell put it in there. So let's go around here, guys. When do you learn to move up in your bets? Who wants to take the first stab at it?
Well, I'd say if you've already won, say the 6 hits, then you take that, winning, put it in your rack. Maybe the next time press it up. Just whatever you're comfortable with. I mean, I buy in pretty low. For me, I actually press up before I actually take. So just go with whatever you're comfortable with. The faster you get your money that you put out there, the quicker you can, press up.
Okay. I'll take a stab at it.
Yeah, all right. Go ahead, Alfredo.
Yeah, I'll just say this. It really, just like what Waylon says, always know where your bankroll's at and where your buy-in's at. Ed talks about, knowing where you're at and not getting overly, committed to putting too many bets out there. So it depends on where you're at. So if you're losing, you might want to take a little bit more to make up for some of those losses before you actually start to go on the press side. But at some point, the only way that you do make money playing craps is you have to be able to collect on pressed bets. So you're going to have to press at some point, because if you just collect, there's not too many unicorns out there. So once you've collected out of the hand, and if you're slightly positive or slightly down, you might start pressing. And if you get some press bets that get hit, you might look at regressing or even turning your bets off until the next roller, until you get, like what John said, you start building up your bankroll.
All right, Ed, what is your philosophy on when do you get comfortable with upping your bets? From it was $10, $15 to $25 table. I read the question wrong. I apologize, everybody.
Number one, I hate $10 tables. I lose money on them damn things. I mean, I can't stand a $10 table. I'll be honest. I don't even know how to bet a $5 or $10 table anymore. when do I know when to move up, or when do I feel like it's time to move up from maybe a
Close
15
enough.
to a 25? What's the table minimum? If table minimum is 15, I got no problem starting at 15 and going straight on up. I'd rather win on a $25 table than lose on a $15 table any day. So, it's kind of an odd question. It's hard for me to answer, but I'll typically start at a $15 level and move right on up with my progressions. And if it's not working, I'm leaving the table. And if it's working, I'm staying there and going to the cage in a little bit.
Okay. All right. Churro, what's your thought?
The way I've always done it, whether it works or whether it doesn't, is I'm really not going to press anything or do anything kind of crazy until I've got my profit back. Or not my profit, but my money back that I put out there originally. Once I'm in profit, yeah, I play to have fun. But if I'm, a lot of us out here will play craps and super serious about it. I'm one of those that I like to have fun. I'm not talking about just drinking and stuff. I will go and have fun, and if the dealers are having fun, I'm going to have fun with them. I'm going to be betting. We're going to be hooping and hollering. But I'm going to always pay attention to my bankroll, and I'm probably not going to do any kind of pressing until I've got that money back. That's about it.
All right. I'm going to put a comment up here from my good friend Frank, who you hear me mention all the time on my show, and I'm glad to see that he's participating with the many other channels. He says you can make a $15 bet on a $5 or $10 table, and I'm going to make this comment. The quality of play, Frank, that's on that $5 or $10 table, and I know where you play, is different than the quality of play that's at a $25 table. And I think if I was to ask somebody like Ed and Alfredo and John and probably Arnell, you're going to get a better poker. Listen to me, a better craps etiquette at a higher limit table. So that would be my answer to that. You can play $100 on a $5 table if you wanted to, but that's just my comment to that.
So the comment. So let me jump in there, Ed or Jeff, because this is an important point. And
sure,
I think the answer to the question is whenever your money in your rack becomes FU money. Remember I did the videos on whenever you have that level of profit where you just don't give a shit. $5 table, that happens pretty quick, right? And you're right. The level of etiquette, the level of play, the dealer level at $5 tables is shit for the most part. But all of us can probably afford to throw $32 out there and go for a natural repeater. And just press like a freaking maniac and not care about it. Like that's the level of table that you can just run it out there. And if somebody hits an ATS on a $5 table, they probably hit a repeater somewhere along the way. That's okay. Like that's the use case of those tables. Now it used to be like we all hunted those tables down. Now the $5 table is like practice time. Literally, it's a practice table.
Well,
it's good to get your shot dialed in. That's about all it's good
for. It
is.
is.
But I don't
like
care.
being on a cruise ship.
At some point, at some point you play with what like I said, it's FU money. You've made your money back. You got $100 in profit.
One second,
Screw
Joe.
this. Go after it, right? And that's the level when you go up. I think.
I think if I was
agrees with that.
I think if I was at a casino with you, drinking and having like we did that night at the Nugget, with that we didn't have that big roll. We're just having fun. A $5 table will be fun. But I go to like most of us here that play this game here. We want to go to make money and not necessarily have the party atmosphere. But I know a lot of players like that party atmosphere and they get around the table and drink. That's not me, but you and I stepped back many times and looked at each other and said, "Damn, there's another 4 and 10, and we're not even on it." So I understand that.
Don't remind me.
I think.
Remind me. But
to what John's saying, the other problem with a $5 or $10 table, if that's the limit, there's nowhere to go other than up, right? And so if you start at a point where you have no regression, you end up finding yourself never making any money because you leave it out there, nothing gets repeated, but everything gets hit, and you're like, why am I losing money?
Yep. Joe, you had a point. Oh, go ahead, John. Finish up.
I was saying, at a $5 table though, your first regression, you could do a one hit and down and be okay. Go 88 inside, take one hit, go 32 across, and in one roll you're playing for who cares, right? That's kind of what those you can actually do a one hit and down on a $5 table. You can't do that on a $25 table. Most of us can't. So if you want to just sit there, like when you come to Seattle at our $5 table, it's a 10-foot long $5 table. Like it's literally cheating. So go out there, make your $28, go 32 across, and let's take them to the cleaners. Like that's exactly the play you make on those tables.
Do they
you may just talk me into coming.
Left one or right one that you need to step back further?
Let's go. What's that?
Do they warn you that you need to step back further if you have long arms and you stick left one or right one? Okay, nice.
Not at all.
Not
at all.
All
right, Joe, go ahead. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a lot like Chiro. As I try to get to the break-even point within 2 to 4 box hits, and then I start pressing up. But here's where everybody else is coming in with the $5, $10 table, which I have access to at my local, 5 during the weekend and 10 on the weekends and holidays. But when you start at those levels, it's hard to make money because it takes so many hits to start pressing those bets up.
Yeah.
You know, if you have access to a $5 or $10 table, usually if you start at that $15 level, you can get into the hits a little bit faster and you can start making a little bit that profit a little bit faster. Like right now, I'm preparing to go down to Indiana or Chicago in August. That's a $25 table. And what I've noticed with my practice is it's expensive as hell to get into it, but you're going to make your money back faster. If you press your bets up faster, whether you sister press or just press a single bet or do a press collect thing or do both at the same time. So the denominations do play a factor, but your bankroll also plays a factor. You have to bet according to what your bankroll is and what you can afford to either win or lose. So that's my 2 cents on it.
All right. Chris, you're shaking your head.
Yeah, I agree with what Joe said at the end. That's how I interpreted the question, was knowing when to move from like a $10 table up to a $15 table to a $25 table. You have to make sure your bankroll that you're buying and what you're buying is actually can sustain a table. So if you have $100, don't go play a quarter table. You got 4 bets basically. So, you know, if you slowly build up your bankroll, then you can adjust table sizes, or if you have, you know, a big enough bankroll, then you can, you know, do whatever you want. But, you know, don't get out there and, you know, expect to see always good shooters on a $25 table. It's not necessarily the case. But, you know, let your bankroll dictate what kind of table you're going to play and what kind of buy-in you're going to have and what type of strategy you plan on playing or what type of sorts of strategy you plan on playing. Because if you're going to go out there, you know, on a $25 table, let's say, with a strategy that requires you to buy in for, you know, one shooter for $300 and you only bring $300 to casino, it's a quick way to lose a lot of money and never like the game of craps, never like playing the game of craps, anything like that. So big believer in, you know, letting your buy-in dictate what kind of table you're going to play, or letting the strategy itself, you know, dictate where you're going to play. Because again, if you don't have enough money to last around a table a little bit, it's going to be rough sledding there for a lot of the time.
Okay. I thought I saw a question came in here for you. I haven't seen it pop up on the screen yet. Go ahead, Ed. Go ahead.
So, you know, everybody's answering this question like we're all dumbasses and bet on the right side or the you know, the pass line on everybody. And if you're doing that, you're stupid. So, you know, don't forget, half the game is the dark side. Half the game is the dark side. So, you know, I'd rather play a $25 don't than a $10 don't any time of the day on that kind of table. So, you know, don't make the mistake of betting right side on every swinging flipper that's out there on the table, because you're going to lose your ass. And sometimes you're going to lose your ass betting the don't side on them, but you know, at least at some point you got some math on your side. So don't forget to bet the don't side on all those knuckleheads that are at the table.
Well, that was Craig and I at Parks this past week. It was a $10 table. We were betting quarters on the don't, quarters in the DC. Right. I didn't even bat an eye at betting $10 on the table because I didn't even think about it. It's $10 table. I'm instantly grabbing green chips out of the rack.
But I think part of that, Chris, was because we're so used to playing $15 and $25 tables. So when you get the chance to play a $10 table, mentally I was like, not preparing myself for lower the bets down.
That's true. I mean, I play there a lot, and they have $10 tables during the day. So, like, for me, I know it's a $10 table, but like Ed said, right, I'm not sitting there betting $10 on don't. Right, I'm going quarter right away. Just like, I mean, on a quarter table, I started a quarter and I might go up from there. But especially with some of the people that were throwing there, I mean, hell, I would have threw black chips down on the don't when I watched them start throwing the dice.
Hey, it is like a don't to get a hit and take everything down on a player, right? You're just looking for one hit and waiting for the next person to get that 25 or 15 or whatever denomination you're going to play.
Well, I mean, I think somebody said it at some other time, maybe another craps chat about, if you're looking to stay at the game for a while and you got a lot of shooters at the table, go for $30 to $40 win per shooter, because once it gets around and you've won that, you've just won, let's say 40 times 8 players, it's $320 that's in your rack, know. But
the fear of losing out is always the problem, though.
A good point. Very good point, Churro.
The other thing that's great, if you know that things have been bad maybe on a side, give them the towel. Go use the restroom. Go get a coffee or a shot.
All right. Okay. Anybody else? Somebody else had their hand up. I saw somewhere. Dylan, did you want to say something?
I think Leon had his
Well,
hand.
I was.
Oh, Leon did? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We'll get right back to him. Go ahead, Dylan. We'll come back to Leon. We'll let Dylan talk, and then we'll come back to Leon. Go ahead, Dylan.
How I really answer this question is it's more. I've really sat back here and listened to everybody, and my honest thoughts are that it's a ratio, of your session / buy-in and your strategy versus the table minimum, and you've got to be prepared for your strategy to be able to. You have to have a goal. You have to have all these things work together, and you have to have this goal of a strategy of what you're going to be doing, and once you're there at a $5 table, $10 table, quarter table, doesn't matter. You can still use the same. Everything is scalable, and so that's kind of irrelevant to a degree. But you have to bet higher to start with, and then as all these gentlemen have said, you've got to then be able to have enough common sense to regress to lock up a profit, and then you can always be collecting and then half press or whatever trips your boat, from there on. So, but you've got to be able to have this mindset of, and so the question really is when do I go up and be more aggressive? So the thing is you already have to have those fundamentals first. Then once you've built that, then what I do personally is that once that shooter has made their point or 7 out or whatever, and if I've made, then I reevaluate. You're always reevaluating your bankroll from that position on. And so if my bankroll's gone either 100 or 200 or 300 or 500 higher, then I can slide that ratio and say, if my first come out is that I'm only using 30, if I'm using 30%, and I'm sticking to my strategy that I'm using 30% of my session / bankroll, then I can scale that for when I'm up either 100, 200, 500, whatever, and then I can still reset and still use that same scale for that new bankroll, for whatever that new session / bankroll is. And I think that's the key. That's how I do it. So I hope does that make sense?
No, it does. Yep. It does. I think Leon wanted to make a comment. Go ahead, Leon.
You said that you are a relatively new player. How long have you been playing?
About 3 months.
Okay. So the great thing about this panel is you've got a huge breadth of different levels of experience. You got Ed, who's been playing, and probably Jeff as well, who've been playing for God knows how many years.
Okay.
And then you've got people like myself who are also fairly new players. I've been playing for less than a year, but I've only been able to, play in less than a handful of times between Vegas and Biloxi on a few different trips. And so philosophy for your bankroll, it does, back to the crux of your question, you have to have the bankroll to start with. And if you've only got a small bankroll, then I would say focus on that. Once you got the experience and really the practice, and you have to practice with actual chips on some sort of table or layout, just so you get the manipulation of that down. Then, you have to know what you're doing to press in the first place. If you don't have the math worked out in your head and know before you go into it what needs to get pressed next and how, not to get a do well. There's so much going on the table for a new player that it's just sensory overload. It's cognitive overload that Ed can't even remember at this point. He's been playing so long, So for him, playing at a lower increment table he can't do that because he doesn't remember those days, right, Ed? And so, but for somebody like me playing at that level, besides the bankroll that I'm able to afford at the moment, I played on a $25 table once. I did okay, but I was made some money and off of it because I wasn't going to take the risk. So it comes back to your philosophy, and your philosophy is your aversion to risk. If you're very risk averse, you probably should play that way. And otherwise, if you're not very risk averse and you're up for those, take that risk, but be prepared to get hammered if you are. And if you're okay with that, cool. If you're not, then step back and maybe become a little more risk averse. And again, learn the game, learn the chip manipulation first before you go jumping into worrying about whether you need to press and when and on what increments and tables and so on. Just learn to play to begin with.
All right, Leon, I appreciate that. With that, guys, we just pushed over the 2 hour and 30-minute mark, so we're going to start wrapping this up. I'm going to start talking to all my guests here. I don't think I missed the question. If I did, I apologize. Just my chat system isn't there. For those of you that might want to get into the after show, you can come on to the link that's up there. We're going to try to have an after show. Sometimes it lasts an hour. Sometimes it lasts multiple hours. But most of the people that are here stay for the after show. Whether they do or they don't, I don't know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start in the upper left-hand corner from my standpoint, which will be just beneath me. I'm going to start with Ed because I know Ed has to get ready to go himself. Any final words on tonight's show? And I'm going to go right on around, end up with John and Dylan, and we'll wrap tonight's show up. Ed, any closing words?
Well, it's been a good show, and I'm sorry that nobody else took their shirts off. But,
I was with you, Ed. I was with you.
Not doing it.
I know that at times I come across as an asshole, and I am. So that's okay. But you guys got to remember. Everybody out there's got to remember. There's two sides on the table. There's a do side and there's a don't side. And 95% of my plays on the don't side. And I consider myself a decent shooter. And I never bet against myself. And I try not to bet against people I know. But you got to realize every hand ends with a 7. Every single hand ends with a 7. And if you're not playing at some point to take advantage of that 7, then you're just throwing money down the drain. That's the way I look at it. Now, we all want those 40 and 50 and 60 number hands, but they're hard to come by. If you can get a 20 hand, if you can get a 12 hand, then you better be making money. You know how to bet it. But you need to be ready to come off the table at some point in time. And that's the hardest part for us to learn, because every time we're getting into that 12th or 13th row, we're all looking for the 30. And that's the wrong attitude. We've got to learn. Everybody's got to learn that those long hands only come every so often, and when you're there, they're magical. They're absolutely magical. You know, and that's when you take that $30,000 or $40,000 off the table. But you need to be happy with taking that $100 to $115 off that table. If you're not learning to bet the don'ts, to do that, you know, my preference is to bet the don'ts, so that I got the house money to play with on myself. Because I always think I can roll 30 rolls. I can't always do it. I never do it. You know, there's times I know I can't do it in the weekend, but I always think I can. So I want the house's money to bet with, not my own.
All right. Ed, real quick on your channel, you had Nate Fernandez on tonight. Who's up next, and when's the next date? Tales of the Table.
You know, I haven't decided exactly who, but it'll be about 2 weeks. It may be heavy. I've got 5 or 6 videos already loaded to go, and I may go ahead and do heavy next.
Okay. All right. So let's head over to Craps Master Journey. Joe, I guess you're not working tonight, so you're here with us. What do you have any final words for tonight, and what did you think of the show?
Great show. Great panelists. Thank you very much for allowing us to present to all you guys. Big thing I want to talk about is the community of crafts. All of us supporting the community, try to promote the community as much as possible. One of the things that I do on my morning show is I do different dice calls, and I'm starting to add different dice calls for the different YouTubers. It all started with the square pair, the hard 8. This week I came up with 2 new dice calls. We have the 5-2 Bruce, Don't Become Shark Bait. And this next week I'm going to be introducing the 6-2 Duracell 8, Support Live Crafts. So any YouTubers out there that have a dice call of their own, please let me know what they are. And if you want a dice call, let's work together and let's make one for you. I think the more we get that out, the more we keep promoting everybody else. So just kind of a little fun thing I'm doing on the side. And I'm not taking my shirt off, boss. You see.
All right, let's head over to Arnell. Arnell, Dice Grinders.
Joe, take it out, baby. Come on.
Yeah. Let's keep the show rolling here. Arnell, you're the YouTuber for Dice Grinders. You do stream here on CGTV and over on your channel with every Wednesday night, or for the most part, live fantasy craps. What's going on in Arnell's world?
Not too much. I mean, everyone knows my schedule. I only, do videos once a week. Every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central, and I consider it mainly more of practice. It's good to practice by yourself, but it's even better, to practice with other people. And if you got a practice rig or table, we welcome everybody to play. Unfortunately, I can only host 10 people, but first come, first serve. So you jump in, we'll be happy to have you on.
I have a solution for your hosting 10 people. If you ever get more than that and you want to do some type of special show there, we can do more than that if you'd like to. Arnell, we'll team up together.
Oh, yeah, nice. All right. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that.
Okay. Churro, Mitboyo, like and subscribe.
Well, it was a great show. It was a lot of fun, and I told myself I wasn't going to take my shirt off, and Ed talked me into it. But,
have you been tipped the brown water too? Did you tip the brown water tonight?
No, not today. I was earlier in the pool, so no.
Okay.
But no, I've got. I just started. Well, we're going to find out how it goes. Spin the Wheel of Craps. It's starting tomorrow, every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 7:30 Central Standard Time. Basically came up with a little game that was going to help promote making donations for the Craps for the Cure. And so if anybody's interested, it's going to start. The very first game is going to be tomorrow. I will not take my shirt off. And we'll have some fun. So that's about it. All
right, Leon, great craps. I know you got a channel. The people should go out there and check your channel out. You're not, you don't put out as many videos. I know when you travel, you put out a lot of videos. But what's going on in Leon's world?
Well, the house I'm standing in, we signed off the papers for selling it, and the buyers will close this Thursday. So Still living in the camper while the new house is being built. It looks like a house now. So sure enough, mid-August, hopefully I moved in and I have a table set back up and I can shoot on the regular again. I did get some great sort of content ideas from Brownwater and DiceCon, so I'm sort of working on the scripts in my head for those. And I think I don't think I've seen anybody do some stuff like this, so maybe some new interesting stuff, something that nobody's really thought about before. I kind of alluded to some of it earlier with the cognitive overload and everything. My personal background, I have some experience with some of this, and it's one of the things that we get taught in my career field that I retired from. And so I think that might be interesting. I don't want to give too much away, but I think it might be interesting, and we'll see what happens there. So I just hope I get the time and wherewithal to actually put it on video and do the editing and everything and get some actual good video out. So we'll see how that goes.
Let's over to Double D. In case Joe didn't know, you got the Double D to Hard 6. Chris Dice Dejan.
Joe's the one who named that one, actually.
Yes, he was.
So shout out to Joe for that one. But yeah, great show as always. Missed the first half because I was in the car, but I was listening in and then popped in. So thanks as always for having me on, and everyone in chat for asking good questions and keeping the show going. And
DJ, how'd you do in golf? Sorry to interrupt you, but how'd you do in golf?
What, like, how did I do, or score wise?
Yeah,
what do you know?
What was your score? How'd you do in golf today?
74.
Nice. Hell yeah.
And that was not on 9 holes before one of you smart asses says that.
We were thinking.
I'm sure. But yeah, some cool things coming for the channel. Some big news coming here shortly. So stay tuned for that. And no shirts will be coming off on my channel.
All right. Let's go down here to Alfredo. Alfredo, you got the spotlight.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, lots of different content out there. I think there's just a plethora of different things going. You know, shout out to Ornell. He now has the ability on the early YPP. You guys can give him a super chat during the LFCs. I'm just looking at more meetups. So I have the meetup over in July that'll be over in Las Vegas with Uncle Mel and the Craps Hawaii crew. In August, I'll be in Chicago. In September, I'll be in Seattle. I mean, it's crazy. November, back in Las Vegas, and in October, back in Las Vegas as well. And so lots of different things. I think we're going to have a lot more meetups that are going to be happening now that I'm in the YPP, and I'm actually the growth in the last couple of weeks has been crazy. I think I've gained about 70 subscribers in the last 2 weeks alone. So I think we're going to get to the 1,000, and I'm going to be happy because we'll be able to start doing some recordings every time I'm in Vegas, and hopefully we can expand that across the country. So looking forward to it.
All right. Well, I said that you'll reach that 1,000 when you and I were riding together in March. I said it'll come. You're doing good things over there on your channel. For some reason, my Zoom screen just changed before my eyes. Well, make sure I get to everybody. I want to think the next person is. I think I got everybody but Craig and Stanley. Craig over there, Old Bay Craps.
Hey. That was a great show tonight. I love this show. I always look forward to it. I try to promote it as much as I can on any of my content. I finally got into the Crapsy after I'm sure I told on some other Craps chats that I would never do it. But I fell into it, and it's a lot to get set up. In fact, today I pulled a Jeff and had it go live, and then the whole connection went wrong, and I had to resubmit for a new stream. And so it took 4 minutes, but I was able to do it. And I'm really appreciative of everybody who keeps joining the Crapsy and the live. I like going live just because it gives me a chance to act silly and practice my roles. But I like comedy as well. I like to be entertaining, and I hope I am. The Beat Old Bay has been really fun. Dice Degen, current winner of Beat Old Bay. Beat Old Bay, I am. It's 4 against me. I've won 3 times, and then the opponents have won 4 times. So it's a losing thing for me right now. But maybe I'll turn it around. I don't know. The biggest thing right now on the channel is the summer slim down. I need to get back to getting healthier and lose some weight so I can breathe better. It happened 7 years ago. I was able to get down to 195, so I'm trying to do that again. But I'm having a real fun time doing these shorts. I'm getting a lot of fun feedback, a lot of encouragement, and I recently had somebody who reached out in Discord with a personal story and said that I inspired them. So I'm
cool.
very grateful for that.
Yeah. All right. They said I forgot Arnell, but I don't think I did. Arnell, you got a chance, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
It's
All
always
right.
a pleasure talking with everybody. We definitely like the craps chat.
Right.
We like the stories.
Nope. I thought tonight was good. I knew it was going to be good when I had people calling me and asking me to get on. We do have some guests lined up in the future. We haven't got that question that I normally get for dialing. We'll talk about that when we get to him. Stanley, do you have any final comments before I head up to John?
Just appreciate everything everybody had to say. I guess the biggest thing to learn as a newbie is you got to take the bets down and walk out every so often.
Well, it's like Alfredo says, chips in the rack, they don't come back. Yep.
Leave while you're ahead.
That is true. I just saw a post up here real quick. I'm gonna put this up here because I actually know what Joe said there. Dice Emotion said he's been out of the area for a while, or out of the pocket for a while. Does anybody know what happened to Vince? He's referring to Vince Armeni. And Craftsmaster Journey did answer the majority of the question. He is currently on online systems. From what I understand, and talking to one good friend of his, they are doing very well with playing certain strategies on the online systems, and we'll leave it at that. Okay, John, spotlight's on you. You got daily paycheck coming up. You got coffee and craps this week. You're back from DiceCon. You're all fresh, all ready up. You're back.
Yeah. Got a kind of a normal week. We're going to back to our 7 a.m., 8 a.m. schedule Pacific time for daily paycheck in the morning, followed by coffee and craps. Next week, we'll start the reverse. So no more daily paycheck until 9 o'clock next week. We're going to switch that show to a bankroll build instead of just a straight paycheck. That'll be fun to work 10K into 100K. That's the plan there. I'm starting a new show. I don't know how often it'll be and what days it'll be, but it's going to be called Stop Loss Zero. This is specifically for Victor. I'm going to take and Ken, my good friend Ken from Ken Knows Gambling, started this last week, but we were talking about it over text. I'm going to just take strategies and literally play them until I lose all the money. I'm going to prove that every strategy sucks. I put a video out last week where I said all your strategies are terrible, and they are, and I'm going to make them all go bankrupt just to be reality. I think what's funny is, like, on my channel, the videos people like the most is when I get a little bit angry and kind of go ranty and yell at people, and then I start talking about how awful you all are as players. It's just the truth. Like, I just want to be realistic about it, right? And I think Ken and I, like building the bankroll series is hard. It's hard to make 10% every time you go. It's really hard. And that's why that show is so good, because it does show how hard it is. I also want to show how bad everything is. Like, the reality is these strategies will all eventually go bankrupt, because that's the way the casinos work. If you beat craps, if we all could beat craps, there would be no more casinos. So I just want to put some reality out there and have some fun. 2 meetups, as you know, the Seattle meetup and the one in November. I did lock in with David. So the Casino Quest Craps for the Cure is going to be November 11th and 12th, Saturday, Sunday. It'll be Saturday from 10 to 9 or 10 to 7, and Sunday from 11 to 7. So instead of being 24 straight hours, we're going to do 2 days during business hours, because the mall won't let us be there overnight anymore. And I think there's more donation potential during the day, and we'll be a little less tired. So that will be a 2-day Crapsathon for PTSD. And if you don't know this yet, we're raising money this year for veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder. Specifically, we found a woman who trains dogs. to be with vets, and they're literal like trained service dogs for PTSD, and every dollar raised is going to go right to her. So it will be dollars for dogs. It will go right to people's houses. No corporate bullshit, nothing else. It's going to be, that's all locked in. I have everything set up now. Now it's about execution. So that's where we are. Sorry about all the ranting, all the words there, but there's a lot going on.
I actually liked a couple of the couple videos that you put out this past week about the craps and the game in itself, and about negative EV, and it is what it is, and I think there.
What I got to do is more of that. The thing is, Jeff, I do it every day, right? My show every day, I say some really cool ranty stuff. I never cut it out and make a video out of it, and that's what I got to start doing more of, because there's good nuggets in there sometimes. So yeah, I'll do more of that, and I'll slice those out and put them on the ProCrafts channel. Oh, and by the way, tomorrow, if you're tuned in at 8:09, you will see. I won't show it to you now, but there's new ink. There's new ink from the Vegas trip. New inks, baby. So I will show it to you tomorrow. Yeah.
Well, we're looking forward to that, John. And as I was getting ready to say, the one video that you put out about keeping it real, I think that there's let's see, I think Scott from Paradise Craps, I was watching one of his lives. He's a new channel that's out there. I didn't stream any, scroll any today. I didn't had a little issues here today, but he put out there, there's over 200 of our channels that are out there. For the most part, we're educational. Some of us are entertaining like myself, and I try to be educational, but there's a lot of BS out there, John. And if you haven't seen John's video where he talks, I'm not sure the actual title of it, but I thoroughly enjoyed that video, John. You were keeping it. You were definitely keeping it real.
I think it's called "You're All Losers." I think I called it "You're All Losers." Is that what I called it?
Yep, I think something like that. So the other thing I was going to mention is you mentioned the word douchebag earlier in the show, and I think maybe you've got a couple episodes of that. Are you going to bring that? You might be a douchebag if back, because you've got a couple of those sayings today early in the show.
I may. What I need is more of those from people. Like I have my own thoughts on that. Like the guy that bought in with the black chip, total douchebag move. But yeah, if you all have douchebag moves you've seen, let me know, and I'll put more of those videos out for sure.
All right. Well, John, thank you for hanging in there, and thanks for the tech support a little earlier today. We didn't get it fixed, but we came close. It is what it is. So let me go over to my friend Dylan, but before I do, I want to reach down here, and I got to get out of word. Everybody keeps putting stuff up on the screen. I have to put this up there. My dog just brought me this. That's the cue that she needs to go outside. So her dinosaur's over there, so she's got to go outside. So Dylan, episode 9 of season 2 is almost in the books. We're going to push probably to 3 hours, and we're going to come to the after show. Anybody wants to enter the room for the after show, there, all you have to do is just click that link right there that's in your chat, and you can come over. Don't know if we're going to have one because the show went so long, but thoughts tonight, Dylan, my friend?
Oh, I love the show, and thank you to all of our friends and guests that have been able to come in, and thank you all for sending in your questions. This without you, and each and every one of you, this show wouldn't be what it is. And so it's one big, huge community, and just one great big effort for everyone. And that's what this is all about: is sharing, caring, and growing together. So I really love Craps Chat, and I'm looking forward to our next meetup, whenever that may be. And I'm sure that's going to be our next send-off. And so when is our next send-off, Jeff?
July 9th. That's going to be it. We're going to try to do 2 in the month of July, unlike last summer. Right now, it's going to be July 9th and the 23rd. We will only have one show in the month of August, but July 9th and the 23rd, it looks like that's when our next shows are going to come. So we're actually 2 weeks out. So for the 2 weeks from now and 4 weeks from now, we'll be live. The month of August is going to be kind of tough for me. I've got a trip in August, September, October, and November. Most of those will include some type of craps plan at some point, but I do have some trips coming out, and I'm hoping to be able to make it out to John's show in September. I'm trying to work the details out on another trip, maybe stop by, and I really want to get to the Craps for the Cure this year. As you know, over here at Mid-Atlantic Craps, last 2 years, we've donated quite a bit. We raised money through me being stupid on YouTube and being crazy things. Right now, it sits at $1,530 that I've raised so far this year. I was gone for probably about 6 weeks now with very little video, very little airtime, if you will, on YouTube. But I played and met a lot of great people and had the opportunity to play good. But my bank for the Craps for the Cure is $1,530. I don't know that Justice Jen is gonna match me like she said she did. I mean, like she did last year. But we kind of joked about it in a previous episode. I know Churro's getting ready to start his wheel with raising money and everything that comes in on my channel from super chats and membership fees and all the ways that the crowdfunding comes in always goes back, and I give 100% of it back. Everything you see behind me in this new studio that I'm using here today is that money doesn't pay for that. I'm fortunate enough to have had a blessed life, great family, and a job that made me retire and it made me want to do this, and it gives me something to do. But here at Mid-Atlantic Craps, it's all about giving back, just like we are here with this show. And without you, Dylan, John, and the rest of you here, and everybody out there in chat, you guys are just fantastic. If you want to come into the after show, please come into the after show. The link is there. Come join us. We'll let you in. Give me a few minutes. Just don't disappear, because it takes me a while to get out of the show and to get everybody here. I've been putting comments up here that people are putting about the show. It's just not about me. This here is a team. Dylan and I, he created the idea. We created the thought. Who would have known 2 Decembers ago we'd be where we are? Episode 10 coming up in 2 weeks, guys. You guys are wonderful. Till next time, guys, I'm going to use my outro. Guys, somebody said, love the dog and take the dog out. Who said that up here? And somebody actually put my outro up there before. But with that said, everybody hang on that's here. We'll be right back. Let's go ahead and get out of here. 2 weeks from tonight, guys, right here on Casino Gaming TV YouTube channel. If you haven't got to the Discord, head to the Discord. Once you get to the Discord, you need to come and play on Friday Night Fights. I didn't get a chance to talk about it because we had such great questions today. It's one hell of a match between Corey, Sith Lord Espy, and my good friend Craig at Old Bay Craps. You really need to see it. It actually goes all 36 rolls. It's here in CGTV. Just go look for it. You'll find it. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Till then, guys, as always, please be safe. Play smart.